Hey, what up, everybody? It's episode 229 of the Fake Nerd Podcast. We're here to talk about my favorite archenemy, Giantkiller. We're just having a good old time, and I realized that I didn't bring the best prop I possibly could have for the beginning of this, which is to hold up and gloat about my PlayStation 5, which is in this house, but not in my immediate vicinity. Oh well, best laid plans. Whoops.
I can't wait to sit next to you and look at it. Ooh, boy.
Anyway, I'm Sparks Witty. I am joined, as usual, by my good friend Brandon T. McClure, the Master Ben Magnet over there, and, of course, my good housemate Ryan Eliopoulos.
What's up? I'm in space.
You are in space.
You are in space.
We're back again doing another one of these. Sparks, if you don't mind, we have a lot of links in the description that I should tell anybody listening or watching this right now.
I do mind. Hold on. We all have to wait here. I'm going to go grab the PS5. It's just the box. I'm just going to go. Woo.
Okay, so we're going to wait. We're going to wait in silence, which will not bother the video watchers. But will definitely bother the audio boss.
I'll grab my PS4, my launch PS4 that sounds like a jet engine anytime I rev it up, and that'll be loud enough to distract everyone before he gets his PS5.
Cool. I was going to grab something as well, but then I realized it's not in my possession. I'm letting a friend borrow it, so I'm like, oh, well, shit, there goes that idea.
We all lose.
Okay, so real quickly, Ryan, myself, and Ben have links in the description. Ryan, you have it downright annoyed.
Oh my gosh, yeah, hell yeah. I did that like 3 hours ago. That was fun.
Yeah, Secret of Nim.
Yeah, the Secret of Nims. I'm not going to tell you what Nim's about. It's a secret. That's a real good animated movie, you guys. I haven't seen that since I was like a wee little baby. That movie rocks. If you like animation, it's from 1982 or something. Real good. Like a lot of heart in that movie. It's real good.
Isn't it also there's like this crazy ass scene where it's like I heard that it was like this like really grotesque scene, and that a lot of people when they watch it when they're adults are like, God, this is a kid's movie.
I mean, it's very mature. It's very mature for especially like an early like 80s kids movie. But like you might be thinking like Watership Down, which is about a bunch of rabbits drowning.
I always kind of get it. I always get Secret of Nim mixed up with Once Upon a Forest.
Is that the one where they build the giant bird made out of leaves? Not the one from freaking. The one. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I remember that one. I remember that one too.
Because you look at all those a lot of those old animated movies, and there's Kubo is also similar in that vein. There are these sequences in Once Upon a Forest where there's these men in gas masks, and we're seeing it from the animal's perspective, and you look up, and like it's a horrifying sequence when they're trying to escape the gassing of their family.
Man, it's almost like the early 90s was trying to warn their children about climate change and global warming, and that didn't come back to bite anybody in the butt this week.
Not at all. And of course, Ben, you have. Ryan, real quickly, for those for anybody watching this or listening to this who doesn't know, what is Downright Annoyed? Real quickly.
Oh yeah, it's a weekly it's like a weekly movie podcast, but it's like a live show where we just talk about a movie that we spin a wheel and we randomly choose a movie, and then once a month we at the end of each episode we gather a movie from a specific genre, and then we spin like a big genre wheel to see like what our final movie will be. We just talk about a movie for 30 minutes to an hour. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes the movies are great. Next week we're talking about Justice League because we're prepping for the Snyder cut. Because Mike likes to torture us specifically, that's why he chose it. So
downright nerdy picked it.
Yeah, he picked it. Yeah. So like I was gonna have to do it anyway. I guess I'd rather do it sooner rather than later. So check that out next week if you want to see me try to be positive.
I guess I'll do that with you.
Ooh, you do live with me. That's one camera.
I just had fun. I was like, do you think he'd be mad if I texted him and said, "Hey, can I be on this one? I'm gonna be on Ryan's side and help him."
You gotta just ask. That's all. I'm gonna try to be positive, but like the movie's whatever.
You know what? I was also thinking about watching it this week. I might also join.
You're not gonna watch the Snyder cut. Why would you do that?
That's why, actually, because
you can be positive about the Whedon one. That is the official movie.
All right. Okay. I can leave it.
Well, mostly because Zara wants to watch it. She hadn't seen it.
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
What the
shit? Also, Ben, you last week I totally blanked and did not put your latest Old School Gamer magazine article in the description, so that is down below now.
I was about to say, because when you said I had a link in the description, it was like, I told you right before the show started that I'm writing my newest one right now.
That's not in there. That'll be next week. But your last one is down there. Do you want to tell people what that one's about?
Crap. What was that one about? I actually
The multiplayer is not dead.
Yes, that one. Thank you. Yeah. It's pretty much about how because you know how for retro gamers they say it's like, oh, I miss the days of going to my friends' houses and playing couch co-op, and now it's all online. It's not the same. It's like, well, now that we're in a pandemic, it kind of has to be. And there are some retro games that do offer online multiplayer. Sparks and I, a while ago, we played Metal Slug 3 online, and that's a classic SNK game.
Yeah.
So I mean, multiplayer is not dead. It just had to evolve, and thanks to the pandemic, it had to evolve even further.
So that's in the description below. And I have a link in the description below where I guest starred on a podcast, Lady Comic Book History. We talked about Spider Women. I kind of went there thinking we'd talk all about Ghost Spider, but that's not what happened. So,
but you had a great time. So that's what's important.
Had a good time. Cool. That's in the description below as well. And we have a bunch of stuff as far as the network goes.
Hey, I might not have a link, but I have a PS5, so.
Oh, there you go.
I did make light of it earlier with the global warming comment, but I did want to say that I thought a lot about a lot of people in Texas this week. It feels like there's a terrible thing in our country every week, but Texas particularly has been really upsetting to me because of how slow moving the government in Texas was to act to help a lot of people. So there's a lot of information out there about where you can go to donate and help out with food, blankets. People need a lot of help in that state right now. So if you can donate anything, please do so.
I don't know what you're talking about. Ted Cruz is doing everything that he can to help this country.
Yeah.
Side note, I actually have my father lives in southern Texas, and he's fine. His wife is fine. Their house is fine, but I called him up. I was like, "Hey, are you doing okay?" And luckily it wasn't. I mean, because where my dad is, it's super south, but his pipes froze. I mean, luckily none of them burst because he turned the water off. But still, I'm just glad he was okay. So yeah, heart goes out to the people of Texas. I may rag on Texas a lot, but my heart does go out to them.
I spent my entire childhood growing up there, and it only snowed once every couple of years. Like as much as I love snow, but like it's just sad. It's a bummer. Like global warming is real, guys. Just stop it. Stop denying it.
The Fake Nerd podcast supports Texas. Our hearts go out to you.
Yes, we do.
I mean, I'll put a link. I'll put a donation link in the description post show for people who want to, do something. I didn't think about it beforehand, but I should definitely.
I didn't think about bringing it up beforehand, but I was like, that watching some of the stories come out of Texas really bothered me this week. Yeah. Mostly because it was just a whole lot of like needless loss going on. I think we all know about like stories about the boy who died in the mobile home from hypothermia, and a lot of other people who are still going to be lost from that. And so, it's a crappy situation that shouldn't have had to happen.
We also have moving on. We also have a bunch of show stuff. We put a bunch of programs from the network on this week. For example, in the description, you can find 2 episodes of WandaVision. It's episode 6 and episode 7. Watch them consecutively if you want to see me slowly lose my mind. And those are below. That's been a lot of fun to do. I put I don't know if you guys wanted it in there, but I did put the Nintendo Direct live stream.
Sure. See our failed experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's down there.
When Ryan told me that my audio didn't go through for that, my heart sank because I thought because when they announced the Nintendo Direct the day before, I was like, I want to try something. And then I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Sparks is like, yeah, I'll be honest. Like, oh, hey, we can actually do this. This is awesome. And it did not work. But you know what? Lessons learned, and the next one's going to be better.
Ben, at least they didn't announce something like super mega big that would have broken your heart to have lost your reaction to.
If they mentioned anything Metroid, I mean, we're going to talk about Direct later on, but if they mentioned anything Metroid, either like Metroid Anniversary or Metroid Prime 4 in that Direct, I would have lost my freaking mind.
Yeah, so that's that's down there. I watched it a bit at Costco. Because I wanted to see what you guys were doing, because we went to Costco on that day, and I was like, I can't hear Ben. That's so weird. Must be something wrong with my connection or whatever.
It wasn't you, bud. It was me. I don't know what.
It was weird
No,
too.
it wasn't
because,
you. It was I trying to maneuver all of the different sites and get audio for everything is to do it in less than 30 minutes your first time. I just couldn't figure it out. Yeah.
It was also bizarre because I checked our stream during one portion and I did hear Ben and Ryan, but we couldn't hear the stream. And then later on we could hear the stream, but we couldn't hear Ben. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But hey, if you guys want to check that one out, that's in the description below. We also have a new episode of Basement Arcade Pause Menu, our freshman series, where you guys talked to adults talking anime plus about consoles.
Yes, we did.
Maybe.
That was a really fun conversation. I had a lot of fun. Can't wait to do the next one. Next episode of Basement Arcade coming. I don't know.
And then there's the Fake Nerd Book Club audio feed has just put up our interview with Michael Marisi.
Yeah.
So that's up. Actually, you can find that on 3 places now. We're very proud of that interview. You can find that on this channel. You can find that on the audio feed of the Fake Nerd Podcast, and you can find that on the Fake Nerd Book Club audio feed. So you can find that at a lot of places, but it's now on that audio feed, and the link is in the description below. And I think that's everything down there. Sounds about right.
I think
Everything so far.
Okay, so that'll be it. So check out those links. We put out a lot of content that we were really proud of. So hey, have at it. Okay, so who wants to go first with their week?
I will go first. I'll go first. I didn't do a whole lot. The biggest thing that I did was probably it had to deal with a Nintendo Direct. I was like, I saw the tweet. I tried to get that stream. That didn't happen, or that didn't work super well on my end. But besides that, I did catch up on some of my comic books. I actually went to the store today and picked up the rest of my books as well. And yesterday I went back to Frankenstein's because I want to get some new art. I know the only new piece people can see is my blown up Pokemon Lugia cover right there for Pokemon Gold and Silver. I got some more stuff. I mean, more art will be added later down the line, but I've been jonesing to go. So I went and I saw a buddy of mine who gave me my little Pac-Man amiibo. He gave this to me for free last time I saw him. So I went and I got a Pitfall Might Adventure for the Game Boy Advance.
Never open it.
No, this is still sealed. Still factory sealed.
I'm just kidding. You should open it.
Why wouldn't you want to open it?
No, I'm going to open this. I want to play this game.
Okay.
I'm the type of collector that if I get complete in box sets like CIBs, I will still make sure all the pamphlets are in there. It's just I want to play the game really bad.
It's weird to me that people wouldn't.
Collectors, yeah.
Collectors.
Like, Brandon, when you got me that Goldar, like the second like we were done like recording or whatever I did that day, I went upstairs and I opened it and I was like,
good.
"Ooh, he's got a sword! It's got an energy beam on it." I put it on my shelf. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, to open your shit. Like I like things are there to be enjoyed.
Speaking of opening, hold on one second. He's way back here. But Brandon, do you remember that Godzilla figure you gave me?
No. Wait, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I gave you my damaged box.
Here he is.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Freaking the tail was so freaking hard to put on. The instructions say put the tail in a glass of warm water for 20 seconds, then you could pop it on.
That's interesting.
It is. It's so weird, but yeah, it looks really cool out of the box. I know because when I see NECA figures like this, like I don't want to take it out of the box, but at the same time, it's like it just looks so much better.
Yeah, that is the Sparks and I both have that figure as well. That is the poster variant for the original Godzilla.
The American poster.
The American poster for the original Godzilla.
Yeah,
where they said, what if he was green with pink spines?
Yeah.
I actually really dig this design. I'm gonna put.
No, it's a cool design. Oh, and what if his breath was fire, literal fire?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, of
Well,
course
they hadn't quite defined. It's just.
Oh no, I know. I know.
Yeah. Besides that, I played a little Fortnite. I played a little bit of I played more board games with Fanny and my roommate Kai. We're probably not in the news, but today, as we're recording this, it is official release or the official 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda.
You're right. That's not.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yep. The Legend of Zelda, this glorious series right here.
He's ready for it.
All my 3DS titles came out in Japan today in 1986, and it did not reach the United States until August 22nd, 1987. So we still have over a year and a half until Americans were going to experience The Legend of Zelda.
Not that long.
Yeah, but quick little fun fact: when Zelda first came out in Japan, it wasn't on a cartridge. The Famicom had this little thing called the Famicom disk system, and these little cube floppy disk things that you would put in a disk that would attach to your Famicom.
What's a floppy disk?
Yeah, no, something from the late 80s.
You know that thing that you can take the metal bits off and make the Enterprise?
Oh, those things you buy at hobby stores. Got it.
The things that you used to take exactly 3 documents to school on.
Oh yeah, okay. I got 2 songs on it.
And no more.
So yeah, that's how the Legend of Zelda first graced the world, and then later on, Nintendo decided, you know what, we're gonna put this in a cartridge, and it was one of the very first cartridges on the NES to have battery saves. You don't have to like keep putting in a password like you did if you lost at Mega Man or something. You just beat the game the whole way through. So yeah, that's the little Zelda history lesson. Also wearing my hat because I freaking love this game.
We just unlocked the Zelda bike in Super Mario and Mario Kart.
Oh, you did? Yeah. In the Master Cycle is awesome.
Yeah, that was
although I was looking at my cover for Link Between Worlds, my 3DS game, and if you look at it, right here in the corner, it says basic reading ability is required to fully enjoy this game.
That's Zelda, right? Oh my goodness, we are graced with the presence.
At this point, it shouldn't be a surprise anymore because I literally live here.
Jeremy Bellucci, what's up, my man?
I can't. Hold on.
There is our.
I have to.
There is our.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I have like a whole thing on the audio.
You got like a whole system.
Yeah.
That's our composer. That's the Fake Nerd Podcast composer and creator of Suburban Proctologist.
Here's your bread and butter.
I've got Godzilla up here right now. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did for my week. I just played some video games, read some comic books. I caught up on Batman, Catwoman, and played a little bit of Fortnite, getting a little closer to the Beskar, and that's about it.
Cool. Love it.
Also, when I would come home, I watch a little bit of RuPaul's Drag Race with Fanny because she'd be watching that when I come home from work at night.
She'd be watching.
Yep, she'd be watching. I
Brian,
missed that.
Sparks, either one of you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go.
Right.
Once again, I don't like complaining about work too much, but it's work kick my butt. People really, really want to go to restaurants. So that keeps me real busy and it makes me really tired. But I am still consistently I am enjoying still watching Critical Role. I am almost to episode 100 and they are currently live at like 125, I think, or something. So I'm slowly almost to catch up. I think the pandemic put them behind a little bit. So it's a little bit less time than if it was a regular life. But that's still really fun. I'm still really invested. They did a lot of live shows, but before the pandemic happened, and those are the most fun to watch. I think you can watch those on your own and just have a really good time. And I just got to February where it's the pandemic is about to happen. So I think the next episode, I think it's when stuff starts changing and I'm like, oh, cool. I've arrived to the bad parts of life again. Cool.
I remember
live things.
That reminds me, I was so far behind my podcast and I still am because pandemic ruined my schedule. So I never found where I can slice in podcasts again. Yeah. But I was listening to podcasts from July 2019 in October 2020.
Yeah,
and I was they're we're gonna be at this place. I'm like, oh man, this is sad.
Yeah, it is. It's wild to listen to the sweet summer children that don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I tweeted this, but it was just sometimes I put on episodes of podcasts and YouTube videos from before the pandemic just to feel alive.
I think I'm catching up on Waypoint, but I think back to when I was caught up on Waypoint just before we went into the lockdown. And I think it was in February, listening to Patrick talk about, I'm getting pretty worried about what's going on up in Washington. And then just cutting to now and being oh man, oh boy.
Yeah, it's an interesting world. It's different from a movie or TV where it's those things were filmed a long time ago. When you do a live thing every week, that fundamentally changes what you do.
Yeah.
Luckily, they found a way to to do it was space like 6 feet away and blah blah blah. But like,
I-
it's still great.
I kind of wish that I was watching any of like the network shows that are treating the pandemic as part of it.
Yeah,
like a real event that's happening in this year, and they're living through it. They're making the characters live through it. I'm not watching any show like that, but I've seen clips from like the Raven show on Disney Channel, Raven's Home. They have a whole thing where they're like, her and her best friend are like going to like loose social distance shopping with masks on, and I'm like, this is wildly weird to watch.
Is she still a psychic?
Yeah,
cool.
I think so.
I don't watch any pandemic related show except for Superstore, which I've kept up with consistently because I like that show. But they've been doing the pandemic, and that's the only one where I'm like, I can accept this as pandemic. Everyone else, like, skip the pandemic, just show me life.
Well, I mean, like, and that's the thing is like it's just such a we collectively on this podcast and most of America is so removed from the network element, but the network element is speaking to your current cultural moment.
Yeah.
And so like they are living through the life you are living at the time. Like they're so based in that year and the time scale of what you're doing. Like if Gilmore Girls was on today, Gilmore Girls would be doing the pandemic.
Sure.
Like that is so wild to think about. And I'm like, I'm so out of that realm at this point. I don't really watch those shows regularly anymore. And I kind of wish I was watching the cultural moment happen right now. Like a few of those, a sampling of the shows of how they're handling it, what they're saying about it, how they're doing it. Like what a weird thing to live in.
Yeah. Imagine like The Flash doing it.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the thing is like the CW is kind of the only network shows I watch, and they're dodging that bullet entirely.
Yeah.
But I know there are shows out there that are like taking it head on, and I can't even imagine. I think even This Is Us is doing it, but it's weird because This Is Us is a show where they're doing it in the modern time, but they're still doing flashback shit. So it's like the flashback shit isn't with it, but the modern stuff will be. And it's
the Good Doctor, which is
sure, South Park.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
South Park is the one thing I watch where they're always in the cultural moment.
Yeah.
The Good Doctor started in the pandemic, and then I think 3 episodes in, they did like a disclaimer, and we're just like, because Zara watches a lot of these shows, and they said, we're not going to do any more pandemic episodes. We're going to skip it and speculate what life would be afterwards.
Holy shit!
So like they just went past it while one of their cast members got it.
Oh my god!
And so like all the Chicago shows, they've been doing COVID and BLM.
It's so
like the medicine shows. Yeah,
it's so weird because like I imagine like so many procedurals are just taking it head on. And it's so weird because once you make that decision, how do you back your way out of it?
Yeah,
if you get tired of having to deal with it, you're like, I want to write this thing, but pandemic.
I mean, it makes it so easy if everyone's like wearing the mask on screen. They don't have to take it off like during takes. Like it just makes it easy. I'm just saying, ADR baby. Besides Critical Role, my crusade of playing role-playing games continues. There's a game called Divinity Original Sin 2 that was like a full price game that got released at $20, and I looked up the reviews, and it is like no joke, like one of the most highly reviewed RPGs of all time, like 10s out of 10s everywhere, like won a bunch of game of the years a couple years ago. So I decided to give it a shot. It is like a lot of the games I've been playing recently where I really haven't liked the combat. I talked about a game called Tyranny, where the story stuff was really good, but I wasn't really digging the combat and exploration stuff. This game rules, you guys, and I'm so excited I found it. I know I started playing Knights of the Republic, and I probably should have waited before I bought this game because screw that game. I'm playing this game now. It's so good. It's so deep. It's so vast. The breadth of content. It's so crazy. It's the D&D rules. It's like all in that land. You're playing as barbarians and clerics and all that shit. The story's great. It's fantastic. The thing that really works for me is that everything is narrated. So every time that you read something, there's a narrator for everything. So that really keeps me drawn in because sometimes, guys, I'm just real lazy, and like role-playing games require lots of text a lot of the time. But sometimes I don't want to read a lot. I know that sounds lazy to me, but like sometimes I just want to have a good time playing a game. This thing, it's great. There's a narrator. He's great. He's an old British man. It's fantastic. The choices you can make are vast in every way. You can be good or bad. You can be silly or stupid. You can pick up every single item in the game. You can talk to every single character in the game. You can fight every character in the game, and it tells you, hey, this is kind of dumb. You really want to do this? But it's like it gives you the choice to do that. The characters are great. I'm playing as the prince of this lizard nation, and like a lot of the people hate me. And I'm like a quirky sorcerer man. Like it's really fun, and I'm having such a good time. And I try to squeeze in some time before the podcast because I did a lot of stuff for the podcast today. The one thing I just want to talk about that I did today was I'm trying to escape from this prison, right? Because they don't like magic people, and I'm a magic person, and I was locked up, so I'm trying to escape. I'm going through this tomb, and there's a bunch of gravestones that have like these jars on them, and they're like radiating energy, and like you can do whatever you want in the game. So like, I'm gonna steal that jar because it's probably worth a lot of money. As soon as I do that, a bunch of evil skeletons pop up, and I'm like, yeah, that's what happens in a role playing game. I made a mistake, and now I'm in roll initiative. And that's exactly the type of thing that I love in these games. I actually reverted the save to see what would happen if I did something different, and I didn't encounter the skeletons. So it's not a triggered thing. It's the thing you make happen. So, hey, Divinity Original Sin 2, fantastic RPG if you're looking into that kind of thing. Real fun. Loving it. Back to you, Johnny. I did something with Sparks, but I'll let him talk about it, then talk about it.
Sparks.
Sure, yeah. Let me see. Let's just start with the thing that Ryan's alluding to, which is that we finished The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that was real good.
I liked it a lot, and I almost wish it wasn't tied to Hill House because I think it set a precedent for a lot of people, including me, because it is so different than that first season. Like it is so much more character based and like gothic drama and like really like romance inspired, and I really liked it. And I also really like that first season, but it's like it's so different.
Yeah, the character even acknowledges at the end, like you set it up wrong. You said it's a horror story, it's a love story, and that's even like said in the show. Like this was a love story.
I said it when I finished it. I actually prefer how Bly Manor ends. Not necessarily. I don't prefer the series overall, but I definitely prefer the ending of Bly Manor to the ending of Hill House.
Go ahead.
No, those last two episodes, like I think, like really solidified how much I like that show. Like the period piece episode, and then like the final episode were like real good.
They were really good. I think for me, like the episode that was all about learning what was going on with her name,
Lady in the Lake.
No, the one who was there, but she didn't know what was going on. You keep seeing her memory repeat throughout the episode. That episode where they're doing the loop with her.
Bex.
No. The shaved head.
Yeah. Gotcha. Hannah Gross. Oh, and I think he froze.
I think he's frozen.
There we go.
Oh, could you hear me?
You're back now.
We lost you for a bit.
Okay. She was kind of like the standout performance of the season for me. So that episode really worked for me. And I think what the season did so well, I talked to Ryan about this when we finished, is that what I love about Bly Manor is I think the conceptualization of like the afterlife for ghosts, even ghosts who do like really bad, murderous things, always feels like tragedy rather than malice. And I thought that worked really, really well because it made it just feel like the way that they conceptualized the idea of you being trapped in moments in time when you don't move on as a spirit, just making you kind of not even know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah.
And that leads to violence. Even unintentional violence was so well done. It made like the tragedy of what, if you want to make ghost stories feel real, like this idea that they're not really malicious leftover spirits. They're usually just tragic figures caught in this horrible situation of repeating afterlife. I thought that was done super, super well. And I thought the show capitalized on that emotional power really well. So I really recommend Bly Manor. I thought that was really good.
Sparks?
Yeah.
It's you. It's me. It's us.
It's us.
If I could turn back time.
So I highly recommend that.
The opening for This Is Us?
No, that was
that's Bly Manor.
Yeah. Okay.
If I could recommend, I would recommend that people should watch that show, and I would recommend trying to get threw it a little closer in a chunk than we did, just so that you retain a lot of the information. Don't have to like pick it back up. Not that I dislike the show at any point where we were watching it. I just think you probably want to try and keep it in a tighter cluster than we did. But solid. I'd love to revisit it, frankly, at a later point. I didn't do a lot because I had a lot of school stuff I had to focus on before I came here. I want to briefly talk about a game I got on my computer that I played for a total of 25 minutes. But I got it because I'm like, yo, this is sick. And I'd never heard of this before. I'm sure other people had, but I hadn't. And I was like, I can play this. I can play this on my computer. This is going to be great. And it's called Typing of the Dead.
Dead. I have played this, sir. I know exactly what you're talking about.
See, yeah, that's what I expected. I'm late to the party, but Typing of the Dead is a House of the Dead facelift that makes it so that the way that you play the game is that you are typing. It's supposed to help increase your speed as a typer. I played that for like 25 minutes. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoy something where I can engage like that, and it's going to make me feel more comfortable with my typing speed and things like that. I love that kind of stuff.
I only knew Typing of the Dead has existed. I never seen it alive, or like I never seen it physically. The only time I've ever saw it physically was at Anime Expo, or not Anime Expo, Anime Impulse, the only convention I went to last year in 2020, because they had like this little arcade area with a bunch of imported Japanese games, and Typing of the Dead was one of them. But here's the problem: the keyboard was in Japanese.
Hell yeah, extra hard.
I was playing Typing of the Dead with a Japanese keyboard, so I'm like smashing the damn board.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point then. You're not gaining anything. Let me. The one other thing I'll say about it is that it's horrendously problematic. The black, like, it's going for a grungy, grindhouse 70s vibe, but and yeah, it's the exploitation, and I get that, but like, and I get that it's also a product of its time in particular as well. But like the hardest thing about recommending it, while I think it's really great to have a video game that you can play that's going to help increase your speed as a typist, is that it is pretty offensive in a way that, like, even as going for a vibe is like gross.
I got something for you, Sparks. There's a game, and it's always on sale somewhere. It's called The Texorcist. It's literally the same game, but you play as an exorcist and you defeat demons and stuff with writing text and stuff. It's the same thing. Check it out. It's an indie game.
Yeah. So there's another one. Since we're going on the topic of typing games, there's another typing game that I've kind of wanted to try just for the sake of it, and that's Mario Teaches Typing.
Oh boy!
Okay. You have to get through. So in order to jump on Goombas, you have to type out the word above the Goomba quick enough to jump on Goomba, and so on and so forth. I really wish we had Mario Teaches Typing in my high school instead of Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, because that was like,
of course.
Yeah, I think that I just like that these kind of opportunities exist, and I am taking advantage of this one to increase my typing. Though I don't know how frequently I'll be playing it in the near future. But you know what? Since we're on it, I spent another 10 minutes playing Lakeview Cabin Killer. If you're not familiar, it's kind of a sweet little simple dumb setup. It's very basic indie game stuff, but I have it on my computer. And you're just trying to survive the killer of your scenario. You can switch between all the characters, and you set up traps and things like that. Super fun. I struggle with figuring out the best way to take out the killer, but it's still good. Okay. Anyway, I watched more Gilmore Girls. Nobody's surprised.
How far are you?
I'm at the best moment because Luke and Lorelai are together.
Yeah,
So,
baby.
yeah, I'm there.
I know where you are.
Yeah, it's good. And then Taylor's a fascist.
I said, wait, hold on. Did I tweet that?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Because I thought that this week.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know when you would have. I'm sure we both expressed to each other that we both agree Taylor is a fascist. Look, there's that episode where he has that terrible toupee on.
Yeah.
And it looks like Hitler's comb over. And the fact that nobody made a Hitler reference with him shocked me.
The episode. I want to real quickly. There's the episode that you just passed, which is the one where Lorelai and Luke finally get together.
I'm further than that, but
is that the one at the end when the dragonfly opens?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
And Kirk runs out naked, and Luke's like, "Hold on, I'll explain later."
Kirk is Sean Gunn, and he runs out of the end looking the most like a Muppet he ever has in his entire life.
Until Weasel.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just saw Ben's tweet.
Me too.
I watched the last episode of Jujutsu Kaisen that our group is watching together, which was episode 13, which is the mid-season. It actually is like a pretty hard breaking point in arcs. So like it ends and you could just stop there for a while. So I want to continue watching it. I'm not sure if I'll pick it up right away because I'll be doing it on my own from here on. We as a group are switching over to Dr. Stone season 2 next week. But I really like Jujutsu Kaisen, so I do intend to continue watching it at some point, if not in the near future.
I'll rejoin that group eventually.
I recommend Jujutsu Kaisen. I really hope you can join us for Dr. Stone because Dr. Stone is solid.
That's the first season, first bit. I'll try.
Yeah. I mean, even if like you don't jump in right on the first 2 episodes of season 2 or whatever, like, you know, as long as you get there, you get there. WandaVision, we watched it. We talked about it. Go check it out. I read Little Char and the Gang. Don't know why I did that. Guess I just think it's cool. Maybe stay tuned. And the last thing I want to talk about is I finally watched Batwoman, the season 2 starting point. I'm almost done with episode 2. So I've got some things I can say about Batwoman, and I appreciate the effort they are putting in, but they are trying to overcome such a giant mountain of shit with this situation that they have backed themselves into, and it shows. This isn't me saying like, oh, you shouldn't watch the show or the show's not good. It's just they are trying to do a lot to sell you on Ryan as Batwoman by the end of the first episode. And that
you were in this, Ryan.
Neither did I. Where's my money, bitch?
Right, Ryan Wilder is the new black protagonist. If Kate is dead, okay. If Kate is not dead, they're gonna have to really come up with at least a couple characters want to stay resolute that she isn't. They're gonna have to come up with a couple of good reasons to explain why. Just like I think that they've always left that kind of Bruce Wayne thing hanging out there, like where did Bruce go? And I don't know if they have a good excuse in mind. Mm-hmm. And if she is dead, then she went out like a punk in the worst way. Her death is just they crashed a plane. That's the end. That's it. She died in a plane crash. Whoop whoop do. So let me. I want to spotlight some things. So the end of the first season. There's spoilers for the first season, and I guess kind of the first episode of this season. So if you don't want to know any of that, don't listen to me. So the end of the first season, we've talked about it turned Hush into he got Bruce Wayne's face. So now he's Bruce Wayne. It is super bizarre that they basically revealed the actor who would play Bruce Wayne were Bruce Wayne to come back and he's a nobody. That's super weird. It's even weirder that they set that up, and I'm sure it's because of the situation, but they immediately back off that plot idea by the end of the first episode. Everyone figures out that he's actually Tommy by the end of the first episode, that he's not Bruce Wayne. They take the face away. He goes back to Arkham. The end. They did almost nothing with it. Does
he ever have the mask on?
Yeah, he had the bandages for the last couple episodes before he got Bruce Wayne's face in the first season.
Does it look cool?
Yeah, it did. Honestly, they should have just left him at that for a while. But they decided to do this Bruce Wayne thing. So you meet characters who are meeting him and they're thinking he's Bruce Wayne and they're talking to him like he's Bruce Wayne. And I'm like, this guy?
Sure.
Like, no offense to this actor, but I'm like, this is really weird to say like this. If Bruce Wayne ever comes back, this is our guy. And I'm like, that's a weird choice, my man. Okay.
He's a handsome guy from
which really leads me to believe that we're never seeing Bruce Wayne. which was, I think, a kind of assumed, but like we're definitely never seeing Bruce Wayne. This guy was all right, but it was super weird that we immediately revert backwards off of it in this first episode, which I'm sure wasn't the original intent, but it makes the whole point of even doing it seem really dumb, and it just makes the whole episode feel crammed because they clearly decided they wanted to drop that, but they had to carry it over from the previous episode from last season, and they have to establish Ryan in the same episode as the new Batwoman, and that's just so much work. And they try really hard to justify it. I will say, I credit where credit's due. I think they do a good job of giving at least a big reason why Ryan's new Batwoman character is so motivated against Alice, as Alice is still the main villain of the show, and it's because Alice's gang is responsible for the death of her mother.
Gang.
And that at least works for me. I think that all flows together really well. I rather like there is a good banter between them when she first sees Alice again and she's Batwoman in the second episode, and Alice makes a note like, "You're actually willing to kill me," and Kate never was, and that's a big change for Alice. Another thing that really hindered them is that at the end of the first season, Alice killed her best friend Mouse because they had a whole disagreement about Mouse wanting her to just give up on this obsession with Kate, and Alice not agreeing with that. And now, because they made that choice, they have now shortchanged Alice for as far as like other characters she can interact with easily around her. That was kind of like a helpful counterpoint to her. And now she is absent that. And I think had they known they wouldn't get Ruby Rose back, they might not have made that choice. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. Oh my gosh, the poor girl's Batwoman voice though is so bad. I'll tell you that. It's not her fault. It's not that she's doing something. It's an audio effect that they put on their voice in post. And they did it for Ruby Rose and it was fine. It's not fine for this girl. It sounds really bad. I don't know what they're doing. It sounds like they're trying to basically do the same effect, but it doesn't land as well. I don't know why. I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think that Ruby Rose's voice just translated better into whatever post modification they decide to make. But with this one, it sounds goofy because their voices are just modulated differently, and it's not working. In my opinion, I don't think the Batwoman voice sounds good. It sounds kind of silly. Kind of takes me out of it. And again, like that's not the actor's fault. That's a post-production decision. I really want to stress that. It's not her going in there going, it's not, we're not there. So it's fascinating to see them trying to pick up the pieces, make this function when they clearly got like capped off at the knees and they're trying to find their way. I think that the girl on her own the new girl is good. I think she's got the chops. It's just the foundation around it is so being held together with like sticky tape and glue and just hoping the whole thing's not going to fall apart. And it's hard to see it's very hard to see the longevity of it, especially with them kind of dabbling with the idea that they could still find Kate someday. And I'm like, you can't, because Ruby Rose isn't going to be Kate again. So what are you going to do? It's just very bizarre. So I just kind of wanted to express that. I feel for them in the situation that they're trying to work through, especially amid a pandemic on top of all of that. But they're struggling, and it's very obvious that they're struggling, even when they have good moments amongst it.
Womp womp.
That's too bad.
They do credit where credit's due. Again, this is a super big spoiler for anybody who cares. At the end of season 1, her dad, who's the leader of the Crows, is told by Alice that because he knows Kate's missing and he's afraid that she's dead, but he's like, I'm not going to give up on her like I gave up on you because that was a mistake. And Alice says she's absolutely dead and Kate was Batwoman. And the last time that they saw each other, he shot at her. After he betrayed her, he agreed with Batwoman he was going to help her with something, and then he betrayed her and shot her. And that's the last time they interacted. And she's like, now you have to live with the knowledge that your daughter knew that you hated her when she died. And to credit to that actor, he does a fantastic job of trying to go to the bat signal and waiting for her to show up, and she never shows up, and just openly like devastated, crying next to the bat signal when she doesn't come. And that was a pretty powerful scene, and I credit where credit's due. That was really well done.
Cool, I love it.
That's me.
Okay, my turn. Hopefully this goes better than last week's, because I found out later that my mic was not working during the section. Cut out all that, ended up losing 5 minutes of our audio podcast. So our audio is actually 5 minutes shorter than our video last week. So fun fact.
Will you look at that?
I spent most of the for all you audio listeners, you missed me talking about Tangled, whatever. I mostly didn't do a lot. So I listened to the Tangled soundtracks. There's 3 soundtracks for season 1, 2, and 3. Of course, the movie. I think all those songs are awesome. Really enjoy all those soundtracks. It makes me miss that show a lot. Today was Zara's birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday, Zara.
Yeah, she. So we watched 16 Candles for her birthday. Because she just turned 16. That's right. I'm a very problematic person.
Oh, geez, Louise.
No,
that's the end of this podcast.
Right. No, she is not 16. We watched 16 Candles, one of her favorite movies. It's a John Hughes joint. I'd never seen it before. Outside of the wild racism, that movie's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. Very horrible that there's a character named Long Duck Dong.
Yeah.
Who's Chinese. But hey, if you could get past the racism, it's pretty funny.
Hey, a lot of great movies during that time. We're just should have known better and didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's fine. It's a funny movie. I watched The Truman Show. Excellent movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey. That's on the 100 movie posters list that we have. I really enjoyed watching that again. It's interesting watching that during a pandemic because it feels kind of like prescient in a way. Kind of like closed off and not being able to go anywhere. Good movie though. Excellent movie. Still holds up. And then the biggest thing. Actually, no, I'll say that last. I'm still working on my project Conversation for those of you listening or watching. That is still happening. I'm behind because I broke my back and then I got sick. So I'm a little bit behind. But I did finally talk to Ken Knapsack, record an episode with him, which was excellent. A lot of fun to do. He's a great guy. And I just booked a really good guest, guys. I'm so excited.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys afterwards because I don't want to jinx it on the show.
I know this one already, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. So Conversation is coming. Once I get to 10 pre-recorded interviews, I will start releasing the series. So I will stay kind of caught up on that one. So, but the major thing is I watched His Dark Material season 1 on HBO Max.
Ooh.
This is the. Yeah, it's actually a very dark show. Like literally, you can't see shit. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
It's
hey,
worse
don't
than
joke.
That's Requiem.
Don't joke. That's happened on HBO.
That's true. This is the readaptation of the Golden Compass book. The His Dark Materials is kind of like the bridge title. Golden Compass was a movie that Daniel Craig was in many years ago. So they did it again.
His Dark Materials is the title of the series of books.
Yes.
It's like an inverse of what Game of Thrones did. Game of Thrones being the title of the first book when the series is Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing that movie in theaters. And also,
the first season is the Golden Compass again.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's better than the movie, which isn't hard. And kind of from what I remember of people telling me how much the movie got wrong, I knew what was happening in the series, even though the series wouldn't tell us. right away. So that was interesting, but it's also a very slow series. And I had a big problem with the pacing of the first season. I heard from friends that it gets better paced in the second one, but the first one is very ill paced. There's some multiverse stuff that's kind of interesting, but we spend most of the time in like the real world when it comes to that, and it's very boring. I was more interested in what was happening with Daphne King and Daphne Keane, who X-23 for all you comic book fans. What she was doing in her world than I was with the other character of the show in his world. James McAvoy is excellent, great cast. The effects in the show are wild. There's a polar bear. Anybody who remembers the Golden Compass probably only remembers the polar bear, like me. And the polar bear looks excellent in this show, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, the polar bear was like the best part of that movie.
It's the only thing of that movie I remember. I'll be perfectly honest.
I also remember, Western guy, big mustache.
Sam
Elliott.
I am Elliott. So his character is Lin-Manuel Miranda in the show.
Yeah, I caught that.
He's a lot of fun. I like him a lot in the role.
Nicole Kidman was the villain in the movie, right?
I don't remember.
Yes.
We're actually going to watch the movie this week. To watch. Now that we've seen the season, we're going to be like, screw it, let's watch the movie.
That's a good punish people on downright annoyed choice.
Yeah. So that was highly recommend that. I'm excited to start the second season. There's some great performances in it. The pacing is a problem, but if you can get over that, then it's a great story. That's all I got.
All right.
Beautiful.
Shall we go into? Oh no, I don't have it.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Oh no! Someone pull out their drive quickly because I screwed up.
Hey.
Here we go.
Beautiful.
Wait, what was the thing you didn't have?
I don't have the drive up.
Oh, I got it.
Wait, did the intro play?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
It did? Oh, I'm glitching like crazy. Someone do something.
Wow.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to the Fake Nerd Podcast, Glitch Edition. Bow. I don't have the weekly news. What do you guys want to talk about? Let's make some shit up.
I got it. So we have some deaths. We have some sad news. Some deaths happened over this week. First is Cy Spencer. He was 65 when he passed away. Well, I believe it's Cy, right? It's spelled S-I.
Yes, it's Cy Spencer. Keep going.
Cy Spencer, yeah. Worked on in Vertigo, 2000 AD, Doctor Who, and was a Torchwood writer. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm very familiar with his stuff, but of course, a lot of Doctor Who fans probably are. And the other death that I have written down here is Stan Lepard, who was the composer of Halo Reach, Halo 3 ODST, Destiny, Guild Wars 2, and many more video games. No cause of death or age was given when he passed away.
I've been doing this for a year. You'd think I would have remembered this.
It's okay. It is a sheer miracle that I had it pulled up as a tab on my laptop right now.
Yeah, both those deaths are really sad. I think I like both those people a lot.
Yeah.
It is sad.
The one that kind of hits a little hard is the Halo one, because we've talked about Halo 3 or Halo Reach and how just amazing, one of the best Halo games ever made. And the music, I mean, when you think of Halo, you think of that part, the opening. But I do remember some of the music in Reach just hitting hard, like like the despair setting in. So yeah, it's sad to see these people go.
I played Guild Wars. That was good music. It's all that's a shame. He's just as when I heard about this, I thought it was the first Halo guy, Marty O'Donnell, but like this guy's just as influential. He did more games. So
yeah. So going on to comic books, guys, we all love those, right?
No, not really.
No? Oh well, shit, you're gonna hate this.
Ripping my tattoos off.
Brandon, do you want your job back?
Do you want your job back, or do you want me to keep going?
I'm really glitching right now. I apologize.
Okay. I keep going then, unless someone else wants.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bounce out and come back in. I'm sorry.
There you go. Ben, you go and I'll pull it. I'll try to pull it up, but you start with it.
All right. So Batman 1989 is coming out from DC. Writer Sam Hamm, who wrote Batman Returns, who was the Batman and Batman Returns screenwriter, with artist Joe Quinones. It's a 12-issue digital series, 6-issue physical, and then a hardcover. Oh, those rat bastards.
Joe Quinones.
Quinones, thank you. Now I know how it feels when names pop up.
Yeah, they're hard.
So the first 6 digital chapters will drop on July 27th. It's continuing the story from Batman Returns. It's going to bring back Catwoman, introduce a new Robin, and bring back Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. It also looks to introduce a new Joker, Harvey Bullock, and the Dee-Dees. This is the second time that the story has...
Ben.
Let him
Brandon's signaling
finish. Let him finish.
Am I back?
Are you back?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, Ben, sorry, keep going. I just wanted to be sure I was back so I can jump in when you're done.
All right, because I have the thing pull up. I can't see you guys. I just only hear you. I have a different tab up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's why when Brandon was probably doing this, because right now all I'm looking at is the drive.
So what you're about to read next is actually what I find really interesting about this, is that this is the second time this book has been pitched.
Mm-hmm. I was actually surprised.
Kate Leth with Joe Quinones had pitched this prior, a couple of years ago, when Batman 66 was doing really well. Mm-hmm. They had both kind of pitched this and had ideas of where to go with a continuation of the Batman 89 series, the Tim Burton thing. So it's really interesting now that going into this year, they were like, actually, this might work out. And they have the writer of the Batman and Batman Returns movies helping out.
Yeah, I think that, I'm probably gonna pick it up, but but the thing that really pisses me off is that only the first 6 issues are gonna come out, and then it's gonna be a hardcover in physical form. So that way, in order to wait to get the whole collection, you have to wait to get the hardcover.
No, you sorry, then that was my bad because I wrote that wrong. The first 6 issues digitally will release in one day. In July, I don't have the date up on with me. We'll release, and then weekly, the last 6 issues will drop digitally. Then the physical books will be published 2 at a time. So 6 physical issues will collect 12 digital issues.
Oh, okay.
And then the hardcover will come out with the whole thing.
Okay.
So you can get the full thing physically and a hardcover or digitally. There will be many ways to buy that full series.
Because I remember seeing DC drop the images for this one in the next book we're going to talk about. And I thought, I want to pick those up because I love both of those. I love both of those films because the next one is Superman 1978, written by Robert Bandini and drawn by Wilfredo Torres. I thought it was like, does it rhyme with Alfredo? I'm scared.
It's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be the same thing. One of the things I really like is dead franchises being revisited.
I know, right?
I was talking. I think I tweeted this when I watched Godzilla, which is the 1998 Godzilla, and I was like, it'd be really interesting to see what that world would look like in 2020, like revisiting that. We talk about like how Spider-Man 4 would look like. Just do a Spider-Man 4 right now. One of the things I really enjoy is revisiting dead franchises in any medium that you want. Like when we saw Crisis on Infinite Earths, Brandon Routh came back. Yeah. We revisited that world, the Superman Returns world. So I'm
gonna be honest. Of all the worlds to have a dead franchise to return to, 98 Godzilla is not one I'd want to return to.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it is. Just in general, I like the idea of returning to dead franchises.
Oh yeah, I do too. Absolutely.
So Batman 1998, 1988, 89, 1989, and Superman 1978 are 2 franchises that are dead that I think it would be really fun to return to
until the Flash comes out.
Yeah. Brandon, you want to drop back, or you want me to keep going?
Well, is there anything else we want to talk about with this? I just think this is a super exciting news item that is really cool.
I was going to pull up the quote that you put on the rundown for the Superman 78, which I actually kind of dig.
Sure, read that. Yeah, read that. My thing's almost done booting up.
All right. This series is set fairly early in the Man of Steel's costume career before Lois Lane uncovers Clark's secret. Superman 78 explores how the citizens of Metropolis come to grips with the discovery that a man can fly. It's unknown whether the series will introduce new takes on familiar Superman villains. I kind of hope it does.
Well, so I think what's important there is unlike Batman 89, which is a sequel to Batman Returns, which is bringing back all the things from Batman Returns. This is set between Superman 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's pretty cool because Superman did come out in 1978, right? Or am I?
Yeah.
I just looked it up.
Yeah. Because Superman 1 and 2, those films are fantastic.
There are literally a billion villains they can choose from, and it's not like they're going to continue this universe forever. They can pick any villain and make them small for.
And also, they could do what Batman 66 did with Two-Face, because he was never in the show, and then they brought. What they did do an animated film, right? Brandon, they did the animated film with Two-Face, right?
Yes, there's an animated film that is loosely based off of a script done by Warren Ellis, who had pitched a story for that series that was deemed too dark and was going to star Clint Eastwood as Two-Face. But more specifically, what you're actually referring to is not Two-Face. Batman 66 introduced Lord Deathman, who was not in the series, and Clayface, who was also not in that series.
Bane.
And so they included the Batman villains that showed up after that series in the style of that series and repurposed them. And I just think that's a really cool concept. I really like Batman 66, and doing something like this just makes sense.
Like one of the first Superman villains that comes to mind when you think of like redesign for the 70s, I kind of dig Metallo.
Yeah. Sure.
1970 Metallo would be cool. Or maybe maybe even Brainiac, because back in the 70s when they had computers, they had large room-sized computers. Maybe instead of the ENIAC, they call it the Brainiac.
I doubt they're gonna do Brainiac as the main villain for your Superman comic. That's between 1 and 2. Brainiac is such a bigger threat. I doubt. Yeah.
Well, it happened in Superman 4. 4?
4 Quest for Peace. That was Nuclear Man.
So then 3.
3 was Brainiac?
Brainiac's not in any of those movies.
They're not. They don't call him Brainiac, but it's a supercomputer that they. It's Brainiac.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I haven't seen that movie since I was like 10, so I don't know.
It's terrible. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Sparks, you've been silent. What do you think about these?
I don't have a lot to add. Like if I hear they're good, then I'll probably read them. But I don't generally have a lot of faith in these kind of projects.
Sure.
I have way more faith in the Batman one. One, because Joe Quinones is an excellent artist, has such a very unique aesthetic that works so well for Batman. That dude has been drawing Batman 89 ever since I followed him on Twitter. He does that dude all the time, so it's perfect. He's a perfect choice for it. I'm not as familiar with the choice for Superman. Also, Robert Venditti's he's fine. He's good. I think it's cooler that we're getting the original scriptwriter for the movie. I think that's cooler.
I think definitely cooler. But after Robert Venditti's excellent Hawkman series, I'm more excited for this.
Absolutely. I've read multiple fine comics. I haven't read his one great one.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I'm not defending it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I have my job back?
Oh, you got your job back? Yes. Take your job back.
All right.
I could feel myself being judged every time I read something.
No, you did great. You stepped up at a pinch. That's what we need. The qualities we're looking for in a young man.
Thank you for calling me young. That feels good.
So DC, much like a lot of things this week, Comics Pro happened, which is a retailer summit for comic books. This is where a bunch of comic book companies announce other things, and there's another announcement in this list that we'll get to. But DC had vague announcements to upcoming books that have not been announced, and even we don't know what they are specifically. But I think the list is actually interesting to read out. So they're coming out with Deathstroke Inc. What that is? All right. Interestingly, a Harley Quinn animated series sequel. I don't know what that means, considering season 3 is coming out for Harley Quinn, the animated series.
This is a comic?
Comic.
Could be a tie-in thing.
Yeah. Specifically, they used the word sequel, which meant after. Weird. I don't A Wonder Woman 80th anniversary title, Untitled, don't know what that is yet. An Elseworlds title, going back to Elseworlds, which is interesting.
Hold up, you're glitching again.
Yeah, your audio is going in and out.
I don't know why I bother.
I'm glad
it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. It's not
Got
your
it,
fault. Yeah, he was at the Wonder Woman 80th anniversary title, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have an Elseworld title that's spinning out of Dark Knight's Death Metal.
Okay.
We also have a DC Vampires title. Hey, you guys remember I, Vampire?
I love that book. I bought every issue.
I only remember
Were you about to talk shit on it, Ben?
No, I only remember seeing it on the shelves. I thought, DC has vampires. That's interesting. And
they've had vampires almost as long as Marvel's had vampires. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, Robin and Batman, not Batman and Robin. So they're switching the names around. Ooh. Joker Puzzle Box, The Legend of Batman, Crush and Lobo, Nubia, the Amazons, DC Middle Ages.
So it looks like there's only 1, 2, 3 Batman books. So we're only at 20 Batman books now. Thank God.
Crap baskets we are.
I put the. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I put the thing. Remember, I, Vampire, because I thought that was cool that they're bringing back the vampires of the DC universe, and I knew that Ryan and I read that title and liked it. So
that book's dope as hell. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Joker Puzzle Box is a Black Label series.
Okay,
that was important. And then DC Middle Ages doesn't mean like the Middle Ages. It was it's a middle age book.
With like the characters in the middle, as middle aged.
No, it's for like the middle school aged book readers.
Okay, because when I read the Middle Ages, I thought, "Ooh, we going like castles and shit? That'd be cool."
Of course you did, Ben.
Well,
Everybody knows that's where you went.
Ben, there's literally a book right now where the Justice League are Vikings. What are you talking about? You can be reading that book.
That is true. How is that, Ryan? Do you ever reading that?
I'm not reading it. I dropped it after issue 1.
That should tell you everything you need to know about that event.
No, because I'm just saying I gave it a shot. You can still read that book.
Okay. So yeah, that's the cool DC stuff coming out of Comics Pro. We'll learn more.
I'll wait to hear more about creative themes and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only one I'm interested. None of them. I'm actually interested in none of them.
I know. Crush and Lobo is kind of like a fan favorite thing. Like that's like a not a ship, but like a friendship pairing that like people really seem to like. So the fact that they're pushing through with like their own miniseries or ongoing whatever, is kind of cool because like that's like a relatively Crush is Lobo's daughter, and people really seem to like that character. So
if depending who's writing the Harley Quinn animated series thing, I could care or I could not. It depends who's on it.
If it's the people from the TV show, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Star Wars is going to have a new event coming soon. The Star Wars comic books, not the series. Oh, look at that Star Wars stuff. This is Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters. It's going to be a Boba Fett centered arc, probably because of his turn in The Mandalorian.
Coincidental? Nope.
I wonder why.
It's going to start with Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha #1. It's going to be a one-shot written by Charles Soule with art by Steve McNiven.
Ooh, yeah.
Then will be followed by a 5-issue miniseries called War of the Bounty Hunters, written by Charles Soule with art by Luke Ross.
Ooh, yeah.
And then the series will also cross over with the 4 Star Wars titles set during between Empire and Return. Star Wars Darth Vader, Star Wars Bounty Hunters, and Star Wars Dr. Aphra.
Makes sense.
Basically, the story, I'm not going to read the whole thing just in case my mic decides to shit out. It's basically explaining what took them so long to get Han Solo's body, going to explain why Boba Fett didn't just immediately go to Jabba's palace, and about how Boba Fett is the most wanted man in the galaxy because he has Han Solo's body.
Okay. I will give this. I've not for any lack of quality. Just there's so many books out. I dropped the Star Wars books. But I'll probably pick up at least #1 to see how it is.
Sure.
Charles Soule has like, man, he is like the reign on Star Wars right now. He's writing the novels, he's writing the comics. Like this guy's on top of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Star Wars literary content going on.
Speaking of the comics, I'm still picking up the comics. The only 2 Star Wars books I'm still picking up on the regular are the mainline Star Wars title and Darth Vader.
Oh,
Right.
I picked up the High Republic 1 and 2. I just haven't read them yet. I'm gonna read them.
But you're not reading Dr. Aphra, and you're not reading Bounty Hunters.
No.
Right. And you're not reading the High Republic.
I totally forgot to pick those up. I should have done that.
That's okay. Hey, man, we can't all pick up everything. It happens.
I'll drop High Republic. Because if I want to pick up, I thought about picking up. Actually, no, maybe he did give me High Republic. I just haven't read it yet.
Well, you can figure that out on your own time.
I'll figure that out on my own.
Yeah. So this is actually interesting to me because the original Star Wars comics that set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, back when the Marvel years, did a similar story where every week they'd be like, "Oh, they just barely missed Boba Fett. Oops, they can't find out where Boba Fett went." So,
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
because they couldn't answer the question of what happened to Han Solo because the movie hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Right. I honestly I hadn't thought about until this moment that they're still going with that Star Wars title and Han Solo can't be a character in it.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about the fact that like he hasn't shown up yet, and I'm like, oh yeah, oh weird.
Yeah. Ryan, I'm sure you're interested in this character. Reptile is making his return to the Marvel Universe. Do you know this character from Avengers Academy?
Oh, is this the kid who looks like a scaly boy? I don't remember.
Turns
Maybe.
into a dinosaur. Turns into multiple dinosaurs.
Okay. Keep going. Let me refresh. Hold on.
All right. So Terry Bloss will be writing it. He's an up and comer with art by Enid Balam. Not the worst name I'm going to read tonight. So in the wake of Kamala's law and his grandfather's worsening health, Humberto Lopez, aka Reptile, has taken a step back from crime fighting to refocus on his family. Perhaps it's a sign that he should give up on becoming a hero and finally come to terms with his parents' mysterious disappearance, or perhaps not. Basically a story about this character from Avengers Academy, and the sequel title, the one that was like Battle Royale. Forgot what that was called.
He also came before that. He was in the original run.
No, I know, but his last scene in that Battle Royale.
Yes. Yeah, that's his last appearance. Yeah. Yeah, he's like a fairly like I forgot about him. Yeah, he's a dude. He regularly just has dinosaur arms. That's cool. Like I guess like that's interesting that this character specifically is getting a weird ongoing miniseries thing. That makes me think he's going to show up somewhere eventually.
It goes back to what we talked about, how Marvel is always willing to give these characters, ancillary characters, ongoings, miniseries, just try them out, diversify their line, and DC is not.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Look at that panel. Come on, guys.
Speaking of Marvel diversifying their line, Shang-Chi is getting his first ongoing series since the 80s.
Yeah, baby. Since like, I think it's like 29 years, 30 years almost, yeah.
Yeah, he's had plenty of minis, but not an ongoing. So
2 this year, actually. 2 minis this year.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2020. Forgetting what time it is.
It's fine. Gene, this is 2020, like, plus.
Yeah.
You know? Gene Luen Yang, who has been writing the Shang-Chi minis, will now transition into an ongoing following that title. With Dick Ruan. It's basically Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe.
Heck yeah. This is very interesting because Shang-Chi's a real nice dude. So I'm wondering why he's going to fight some good boys. I'm sure there's a good reason. Gene Yang's a great writer. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be an ongoing after so long.
Yes, absolutely. I'm stoked.
Just before his movie.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence? No.
The Immortal Hulk is getting a new tie-in. We've had a bunch of tie-ins from the series. Now we're getting The Immortal Hulk, Time of Monsters by Al Ewing, Alex Packnadel, David Vaughn, with art by Juan Ferreira and more. So it's multi-art artist people. I want to introduce the very first Hulk from 10,000 years ago, the one who opened The Green Door.
Alex Packnadell is a fantastic writer. He wrote one of the great tie-ins from Empire. He's also a writer of like Giga and some other things. I think he's a great up and comer. I'm buy this book. It's an Immortal Hulk book. Whoop whoop whoop.
I bought every Immortal Hulk tie-in. They've all been great. So totally.
Right.
Absolutely.
I need to get more Immortal Hulk trades. Do I only have two? Yeah, I only have two. Need to get the third.
Get more.
I want more.
So this was the other Comics Pro news that I alluded to up top. Spawn is getting a major expansion this year. Todd McFarlane's Spawn has been going for over 300 issues, all written by him.
That's impressive, man.
That is
impressive. he is like firm on, like, has a firm grip on Spawn.
It's his baby.
Yeah. But he's going to try an experiment. Can you launch a shared superhero comic book universe in 2021? So basically doing what Marvel and DC did in the 60s and 30s. Spawn will start with a one-shot called Spawn's Universe. Going to be the first Spawn #1 in decades.
I've been going to the comic store so long now. I remember when Spawn 200 came out, and I think I bought it because it was like a big deal. And I think like Spawn 300 recently came out. I'm like,
yeah, 300 on 309. After Spawn's universe, Spawn will obviously continue and will not be renumbered. It will continue its numbering, but 3 new ongoing spin-offs will come from it. Based on the Scorched, the Gunslinger Spawn, and King Spawn, which will be the second title that the main Spawn will be in.
Cool. I was in Spawn a little bit. I have a bunch of action figures upstairs that I used to collect because there was a big sale, and I think Spawn figures are real cool. And there's like a whole like alternate universe thing of like, or not alternate universe thing of just like people who are like, yeah, I'm the King Spawn, or I'm the Western Spawn. It's like I'm the Viking Spawn. I'm
kind of Ghost Rider, how they have a long history.
100%, just like that. Yeah, like there's a bunch of different spawns. They have some really good writers on some of these, so like I might check out at least 1 or 2 of them because like I'm always open to the idea.
Yeah, I'm also open to this. I've always kind of been interested in Spawn a little bit, but it's just such a daunting task to read it all. Yeah. But Donny Cates is one of the writers on one of these new series, so I'm into that.
Alice Cott, who is a guy who's like a very like artsy, kind of like artsy fartsy writer that like he's doing one, and Frank Quietly's doing one. So I'm like, they're getting like heavy hitting people. So I'm like, this seems like one initiative that like would have happened a long time ago, like when Spawn was in its heyday. So it's cool that they're trying it now while people are into it. That Spawn movie is also still coming out sometime soon. So like, makes sense.
Yeah, no credit. We don't know who's writing what. Which is he's keeping that mum. But yeah, good teams. I might actually pick this up.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Time Before Time, which is a new comic book coming from Declan Shalvey and Rory McConville. They are the writers, and then Joe Palmer will be the artist.
That's awesome. Declan Shalvey is an artist. He did one of the most recent Immortal Hulk tie-ins, and he was the artist on Moon Knight with Warren Ellis. Like, he's an extraordinary artist, and he's slowly, much like a Chip Zdarsky, starting to write more. So it's cool that he's flexing those muscles, man. Yeah,
I'm gonna try to read this. Feel free to interrupt me if my mic craps out, because I think this sounds really cool. Time Before Time is set in a world where a criminal organization known only as the Syndicate rules a very special kind of underground market. Their agents can use time travel to smuggle people back in time to start a new life. The series follows 2 of these agents, Tatsuo and Oscar, as they attempt to break free and steal their boss's time machine for themselves. Naturally, that plan is easier said than done.
That does sound awesome.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah, it's like person rescue Looper. Like, I'm into it.
They described it like a cross between Looper and Saga.
Oh, dude, yeah, that sounds dope.
Yeah,
if it's gonna be anything like Saga, this is gonna be sad.
Alien sex.
characters are gonna die.
And they talk about
No, I just thought you're probably gonna get that one dude who's like, man, I would have done so much better back in like the Middle Ages, and then they realize like I made a horrible mistake.
No way.
Yeah, you have a apparently like things are going to have like alternate timelines because they'll change the past and the future will be different. So
Butterfly effect.
that'd be cool. The Good Asian. Oh, I'm sorry. The Good Asian is a new comic book that sounds really cool, but I'm really sorry I have to pronounce the creative team. Pornsack Pichechote.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I'm looking it up too.
With art by Alexandra Tefanecki.
No, yeah, you absolutely did your best. Absolutely.
I did my best. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You did.
This follows a hard-boiled Chinese-American detective named Edison Hark as he hunts for a serial killer in 1936 Chinatown. With systemic racism running rampant, Hark and the characters face the harsh realities living under the Chinese Exclusion Act, the first immigration ban in American history.
Damn.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That sounds deep and good. All right.
there's a lot of good stuff to explore around that act for sure.
When is it coming out? When is this?
May. Everything May. All these are May.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna have to pick that book up.
I think that sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's might be a future book club once it's all done.
And then Eve, coming from Boom Studios, by Victor Lavelle and Joe Mi-gyong. Sorry.
Nope, you got it.
When the ice caps melted, most of humanity was lost to the hidden disease that was released. Now a mysterious girl named Eve has awoken in secret and must deal with a world that's nothing like the virtual reality she was raised in. In order to save her father, Eve must embark on a deadly quest across the country, but she has no idea of the threats that await her or the price she will pay to restore life to a dying planet.
Yo, man, I'm stoked to read anything done by Victor Lavelle right now. So after we did Destroyer, yeah,
I'm into that.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Okay, comic book property news. There's nothing more to add about the comic books. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Danny Elfman has let it slip that he is composing the score.
Okay.
Listen.
Didn't he? Yeah, he worked with Sam Raimi on Spider-Man, didn't he?
Yes.
You bet your sweet ass he did.
All right, I'm down for it.
Arguably, Sam Raimi brought the best out of Danny Elfman at that time.
We are, man. Danny Elfman is just a guy who brings all franchises together. He did Justice League, where he brought the '89 Batman theme, the Superman theme, and Justice League theme. He's gonna do that again.
both Superman themes.
Yeah.
And he did. And he did Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you're right. I always forget.
As someone who has more than once thought that Doctor Strange's score might be even better than the movie itself, I'm really glad that it's going to be Danny Elfman who will take the themes from Doctor Strange and work around them rather than just throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's that's gonna sound good.
You know, the best thing I remember watching when I want to say it was Spider-Man 2. Where we get the Danny Elfman Spider-Man theme, but also you get all the Alex Ross paintings of what happened in the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
That
was so good.
Dude, no, we're probably not going to get something like that. Like, how cool would it be if we
Here's the question. When Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man shows up, do we get the first movie's theme, which is Howard, right? James Newton Howard?
James Newton Howard, yes.
Yeah. Or do we get the Hans Zimmer theme from the second one? Because they're different.
I couldn't tell you either of them, so who knows?
You know what? I hope it's the first one, because I think that score is dope.
The correct answer, because it's Danny Elfman, is both. Plus a new one.
Very right.
All together.
All right. Marvel Studios has announced a new TV show. Not the one you're thinking of, though. Marvel Studios Assembled will be a new show exclusive to Disney Plus that will go behind the scenes of the shows and movies of the MCU, following the filmmakers, cast and crew, and Marvel heroes every step of the way.
More, it's like the Mandalorian one, right? Like that.
Yeah, like the Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian.
Dope. I'm into it. Give me WandaVision, baby.
Yeah, the making of WandaVision will be the first episode that airs on March 12th.
I would love to watch that behind the scenes for one.
Obviously, Black Widow will get one, Shang-Chi, all the shows. So every Marvel property that comes out will have an assembled episode about behind the scenes.
Cool.
Okay. The Flash cast a new character.
The movie, not the show.
Yeah, the movie also gearing up to film. Did you see that?
Sure did.
Wow. I'll believe when I see
Good
it.
Lord.
Sasha Calais, right? I hope.
Sure.
All right. Has been cast as Supergirl, the Flash TV series.
This is super
Movie.
This is awesome. This is super cool. That one, that they believe in the character enough to recast it so soon after the TV show happened. Because, like, again, it's a multiverse. Who cares, right? You can have multiple character, and the casting of a Latino girl. Like, who cares that she's white? Get over that nonsense. Like, I'm just excited we're getting more Supergirl. And what does that even mean for Superman? Like, that's silly. That's crazy.
Well, what's interesting is that this isn't a Flash movie.
Yeah.
This Flash movie is wild. I don't even know if Flash is in it anymore.
I was talking to Megan about it, and I'm like, I'm real pumped about this casting. I think this is really cool. I watched the video where he told her. I thought it was real sweet. I'm really excited about it. I still just wish that I got a Flash movie before I got Flash / Justice League. Flashpoint movie.
Flash movie.
I still sit there, even though I kind of understand that at this point you need this because you need to kind of clear the air of what the heck you're doing with the DCEU now that you're moving on from Snyder.
Yeah.
I watched the video also. I'm super excited for this. Like, watching that video was so sweet.
Good for her. Good for her.
Sadly, I haven't seen the video. I'm happy for her, but I still don't believe the Flash movie is happening until I see a trailer for it.
So then DC put out the video for it. So they put the John Williams Superman theme under the reveal when she gets it. It was very sweet. And she's crying. And
it's really cute because the director says, "Can you fly?" And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Of course I can't fly." And he's like, "Well, you can in this." And he pulls out the I think it's the Superman suit and says, "You're going to be wearing, you're going to be Supergirl."
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Super cool.
Now, this is just a fly like a dart in the wall question. Is this Cavill's Supergirl or is this a multiverse Supergirl?
I think Cavill's Supergirl.
I don't think Cavill's Supergirl.
What does your heart tell you? Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. I think it's the Supergirl who we're gonna have going forward.
Yes.
Of our main universe.
But
I don't know if that means it's Henry Cavill's Supergirl because I don't know what the heck they're thinking to do with Henry Cavill's Superman right now. But I do think that this is the Supergirl we're going to consider Supergirl for the movies past this point.
Yeah.
And I'll say that.
Yeah. Speaking of the multiverse, we're getting a new Constantine.
No.
I mean, I love, like, you've watched more of Matt Ryan than I have, Sparks, but like that dude rules as Constantine. But like
it's hard to, like, I'm all like, you want to give it to a person of color, I'm not against it. Matt Ryan's so good. It's just like, in my opinion, like, I feel like he's done so much for Constantine right now to make him a known entity through television and through the animated films, that he's brought that character to life in such a way where I'm like, I feel like he deserves this. Personally, I understand maybe they don't want to deal with like having to talk about continuity or is he the same continuity as blah, but man, he's earned to be Constantine whenever he wants to be Constantine. Like, at this point, in my opinion, he should always be asked first. I guess you don't get like that pinpoint kind of casting often, and when you do, you kind of want to hold on to it and get everything out of it possible.
I get from like the movie people's perspectives, or like, you know, like the people that aren't on like the CWTV side. They're like, it's a multiverse. It's a lot easier to just recast. Like I get it. It's just like he's so good. In the pop culture zeitgeist, he is not as influential as Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, but he is as pitch perfect. And that's why I'm like, man,
it should be just as hard to have a conversation about not having him appear as Constantine as it is to think of having someone else play Tony Stark.
Right. So the basically what we're talking about is that HBO Max is in early development of a Justice League Dark prequel series, supposedly starring Constantine, and they're looking to cast a younger person of color to play the role.
I'm into it, man. I think
I will say, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I will say, like, if you are not casting Matt Ryan, you better be giving it to a person of color. It better not be some other white dude. Like, if it's a white dude, it should be Matt Ryan. But if you're really going to change it up, then I'm open to that, I think.
And since it's on HBO Max, like, again, like, not everything has to be like super mature rated R, but like Constantine, like, his roots are a little bit more grungy. So it would be cool if he could return to that little more mature side of the DC universe. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Really like that show. His show, really great.
He's flourished, honestly, on Legends. He's really come into his own on operating that character. I think also between when we watch the animated films, getting to hear his vocal performance, how much that evolved over time. From that first one he appeared in to the later ones, like, he really solidified himself as Constantine. And it's like, man, he's the dude. Like, he's the dude. So,
okay. Stargirl had a casting announcement. Season 2 of Stargirl is ramping up, and John Wesley Shipp will be reprising his role as Jay Garrick, the Earth 2 Justice Society Flash for Stargirl.
That's cool. Is it? I don't know. You're gonna be look, Sparks.
I don't understand how in the continuity of CW shit, but like, it's cool.
Well, they talked about it in the piece that he was Earth 3 originally, right?
Yeah.
I think he was Earth 3. No, because Jesse Quick is Earth 2 and he was Earth 3. Because he was also, I remember when they go to the Earth 3 trickster scene, and it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But hey, crisis happened, so the Crisis could have rewritten his history to be Earth 2's Justice Society Flash.
I wanted to bring up something I forgot when we were talking about the Batman 89, Superman 78 comic. They've already put out a Wonder Woman, one of those comics. They're absolutely in the future going to make a Justice League like 1992 or something, and the Flash will be part of that from the 90s, and it'll be all of them on a Justice League. How dope would that be?
I'd read the shit out of that.
Older Superman. That'd be
no,
bad.
not even older Superman, because Wonder Woman 77 and Batman 66 act like they're the same year. Like, it's just those interpretations of those characters.
Okay.
So you would essentially have the 89 Michael Keaton meet the 78 Christopher Reeve meeting the 77 Linda Carter.
And Superman and Wonder Woman really don't age like a decade to meet Batman. It wouldn't their ages wouldn't be that bad. Anyway, sorry about this stuff.
Yeah. I what are we talking about?
Stargirl.
Yeah.
John Wesley Shipp.
More than anything, like, it's just I hope that they make it clear that he isn't the same Flash at all.
Yeah.
That Flash ran his whole timeline and he died saving the multiverse. So that was the whole point of Crisis, was him dying.
Wait,
a fun multiverse thing to have him just be on the show.
Wait, I thought the Barry Allen of the 90s died in Crisis.
Yeah, Barry Allen of the 90s died.
Barry Allen of the 90s.
Didn't Jay Garrick lose his powers?
Oh man, I forgot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because he plays Barry Allen in the 90s.
That's
Man,
right.
He just appears as too many frickin' people.
Maybe don't do this.
So
he's Henry Allen, Jay Garrick, and Barry Allen.
And now he's going to be this guy too now. Oh boy.
Now he's another Jay Garrick.
so many Flashes.
Whatever.
Man.
I mean, whatever. It's cool that they're still using the actor for stuff. That's
Yeah.
I'm happy he's still.
I mean, like, what do you like? For me, I kind of looked at it as I was like, oh, of course, because you're doing the Justice Society as these Golden Age heroes, like Jay Garrick. Hey, you got a Jay Garrick in the Arrowverse, in the CW verse.
You do.
Okay. Marwan Kenzari has joined the cast of Black Adam. I forgot to put where he is from, but we know who this person is.
It's Aladdin. He's from Aladdin. He's Jafar.
Don't you mean Shazam?
No, nobody ever means that. Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The guy from Aladdin, right? That's what we're talking about again?
Yeah,
Jafar.
Jafar.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Hey, I really liked him in The Old Guard. So
Yeah.
I just really hated him in Aladdin. So I don't know. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Look, no, there were like performance choices that were just bad in Aladdin. I don't think they were script choices, but it's fine. I'm sure he'll be better here when he's not trying to match the performance of someone that like was pitch perfect iconic. So
we don't know who he's going to be. I imagine someone in the JSA, but we'll see.
yeah.
Just
And then Department of Truth, James Tinian IV's creator-owned series, has been picked up for a TV series that he will co-write, but they have not found a writer for with him.
This is incredible. That book is only like on issue 6, but that book is so good. It's so crazy. It's about like what if conspiracy theories, like if enough people believed in them, they became real, and it's the department that deals with them. It's very, very Control-esque. That's why I think I love it so much. It's like very Lynchian and very, very weird. It's so crazy that it's this fast in development, but luckily, Tynion, the writer is co-writing it, so like he's fully involved. So like I believe in that project. That's exciting. This is a nuts thing, man. Like the comic is super weird. So I'm very excited. You guys should really check that book out.
Yeah, I want to. But yeah, that's super cool, and he gets to write it, his own co-creation. All right. Cartoon Network had a whole thing. It was like Redraw Your World or something like that. And from it, 4 new shows were announced and first looked at. So Teen Titans Go is getting a spinoff, which is actually a kind of pseudo sequel to two arcs they've done in the show, called Teen Titans Go: The Night Begins to Shine. Will be an HBO Max spinoff that sets them in the world of The Night Begins to Shine. It's a whole parallel world of like 80s hair rock band. So you've seen the variant versions of them, I'm sure, where they look like rockers from the 80s. And it's all set in there, and the Teen Titans have to save the magical mixtape.
Frankly, 2 of the best episodes of Teen Titans Go they've ever made are those 2 episodes. So
yeah, so that's cool. Sparks, I know you were excited about this. Oh, I didn't put Infinity Train. You texted me specifically, but Infinity Train's gotten to season 4.
Yeah, Infinity Train's doing great over on HBO Max, guys, and so they've done well enough that they're getting a season 4. Go check that show out; it's great.
But this one was talking about Amazing World of Gumball is getting a movie.
Hell yeah, it is. Well deserved. I'm glad that they're getting to come back and do more Gumball. It's not that the show ended on a bad note; it just ended in kind of a weird way. And what I mean by it is it almost felt unceremonious in a lot of ways. The last episode of the show is just kind of, that's the end. And you're like, whoa, okay. So I'm happy to go back.
Yeah.
Gumball's an excellent show.
No, Gumball, to continue seeing the praises of the Amazing World of Gumball, it is definitely one of the shows that if you used to be an old Cartoon Network purist, like unfortunately I kind of was, and you see Gumball, he's like, what is this? But after you watch it, it is amazing. No pun intended.
Gumball is children's cartoon Deadpool.
Yeah.
I both mean literally that the character is the children's cartoon equivalent of Deadpool, and I also mean that the show's satire on children's cartoons is Deadpool styled.
100% accurate. I became a convert to shows like Regular Show and Amazing World of Gumball, and these are amazing. And I'm glad that Gumball is getting this movie. Now I just need to finish watching the whole series.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Total Drama Island?
I remember of it, never watched it.
Show ruled.
Do you know it came from Canada?
I did not.
I think
it does.
But I think I did.
You pay attention, there's actually a whole lot of Canada cultural references.
So HBO Max is reviving Total Drama Island for 2 new seasons.
That's cool.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
It's so it's a Survivor-esque show, but animated. And they go on like this island, and they have to do like Survivor-esque things. It's all comedy
and involving kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
The quality of it was unexpectedly good, and I'm like, wow, how this was kind of around the time where we were heading into the Adventure Time regular show era, and Total Drama Island was airing on Cartoon Network, and I'm like, wow, how did cartoon writing get so good? And then I found out that Total Drama Island was actually Canadian, and I'm like, oh, well, that one makes sense now, because it is a very different tone from American television. When you start watching it, you're like, this is just different.
Yeah. But it will apparently feature an updated cast of quirky, iconic teen contestants as they face hardcore competition, brutal eliminations, and more drama than ever before. I couldn't say a word for a second.
It's all right.
I'm stoked. I like that. I like the main character. That one, the guy who the host. He's obviously coming back with his sidekick. So cool. And then we got a brief look of Aquaman King of Atlantis. No footage, just a brief what the show looks like.
I was a little bummed. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
More than anything, because when we were speculating about this James Wan animated show, we were all pretty convinced that it was tied to the films. It was kind of going to continue the spirit of the films because it was James Wan doing it. And I now no longer believe that's the case.
Sure.
I'm not anti the style. I am a little thrown off by the style.
Sure.
It
does look like a cartoon Jason Momoa, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
I'm into it. I'm very into it. It's like I also thought maybe it was going to be more tied to the movie, but the fact that it's just a crazy, a weird looking Cartoon Network experiment makes me excited that DC's taking risks. So it makes me happy.
Yeah, this is also an HBO Max original. So
hell yeah.
Okay. BlizzCon happened this week.
Blizzard, they're a video game company. They buy companies and make them make Overwatch instead of other good games.
Well, they said Overwatch 2's coming.
Yeah, because they bought the company that made the Tony Hawk remakes, and now they're working on it to make it come out faster.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I guess it's obviously some World of Warcraft expansions, but the Diablo 2 specifically you wanted to talk about, Ryan.
Yeah, Diablo 2 is one of those greatest games of all made, greatest games of all time kind of things, and in the world of remakes and remasters, this is one of those games where people are clamoring for please give us this game again in better resolution and stuff. And it looks like that game again is prettier. I played Diablo 2 when I was 10 years old. That game blew my mind of how it's so metal, demons and shit. But also D&D. So again, I'm very into that right now. So I'm excited it's coming out. Also, Diablo 4 had just some more announcement stuff, but we already knew that game was coming out.
Yeah, they had a trailer for the Rogue class trailer is what they called it.
Yep, this looks like a pretty version of one of those games. Yep.
Yeah, I figured we wouldn't have a whole lot to talk about with that one because none of us are playing World of Warcraft currently. So
no. But Burning Crusade Classic is coming out. World of Warcraft has been going on for over 15 years. So, that's 15 years of expansions, but they put out World of Warcraft Classic, which is the very original 2003 version of the game without the patches, without the updates. So now they're getting the very first expansions version of that. So it's very much the thing of you put out Resident Evil 7 and then the remake of Resident Evil 2 comes out. If they're working backwards and forwards at the same time, it's really strange, but it's making them money. People are happy.
Maybe they think that the Resident Evil they'll just catch up eventually.
They're almost halfway there with 4.
We'll get a Resident Evil 8 remake in 5 years.
Oh my god, it'll be so pretty though.
It will be pretty. Holy crap.
And I mentioned that the link below to our Nintendo Direct live stream is there, but we go talking about Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, what you can actually hear my thoughts this time.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. You're right. I should hold on, Ben.
He's gonna mute. Yeah, he's gonna mute.
All
yeah.
Right. Anyway, so we get the full experience of what happened on that live stream.
So while the Direct, I think the overall consensus on the internet is that it's been almost 2 years since the last Direct, and this isn't exactly what people wanted. But also, there's been a year-long pandemic, so I don't blame the company for not revealing bigger games.
This Direct was a true Nintendo Direct because we had other ones sprinkled throughout Nintendo World Direct, we had the Mario 3 5th Anniversary Direct. So we had little stuff, and we had like the Smash Bros Direct, and we had like little stuff sprinkled here and there. But yeah, we're still in the middle of a global pandemic. We can't do a whole lot of stuff. And some people who are complaining like, oh, I was expecting this. Guys, summer's around the corner. E3 is doing something online. You know Nintendo's going to put something out for E3. So calm down.
Yeah.
So some of the things that were announced, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is getting Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yep. More anime sword people.
More swords. I had a feeling that they were going to add another character from the Nintendo roster to Smash before they would go more third party.
When's Master Chief showing up?
He's in Fortnite. He can't show up in Smash now.
Yeah.
Mag says Snap coming out soon.
Pokemon Snap. I'm surprised we didn't get like a little trailer for that because that is coming out soon.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure because it's coming out. Pokemon Snap's coming at the end of April, so they're probably like, we already put the trailer out. People know what it's Pokemon Snap. You take pictures of Pokemon. You don't have to put more stuff out for that. I don't think.
Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is coming.
Yeah, so a lot of people are really happy about this, and a lot of people aren't very happy about this because Skyward Sword, when it first came out for the Wii, was a very polarizing Legend of Zelda game. Because a lot of people, like I said, today's the 35th anniversary when this thing first hit the Famicom. So a lot of people are like, oh, 35th anniversary of Zelda. What's going to be the big thing? Are we going to get Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and something, and Twilight Princess remastered on the Switch or whatnot? What's going to happen? What are they going to do? So there's no big Zelda news besides Skyward Sword. And from what I saw, thankfully, a lot of people are happy about that. But other people, they are super pissed.
Well, I think it's just if you don't like the game, then this news doesn't excite you because you're getting this instead of something new, which is fine. But like a lot of people didn't play that game because it was on the Wii and you had like good motion controls and like so this is one of the only Zeldas I haven't played.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the only Zeldas I never played because I wanted to play it. I had a friend of mine back in college loaned me his copy of the game, but the only disc in that case that I used was the 25th anniversary Symphony Orchestra CD that came with the game.
Oh, okay.
But it's not the fact that the game is coming out to HD that people are pissed. People are pissed because the Joy-Cons that were announced with it, the new Zelda Joy-Cons, the Master Sword and the Shield, and the game aren't bundled together, and they're looking to the original Skyward Sword, which did come with a controller. So there's about that, which also makes me a little mad at those same people because they upped the price of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess when they came to the Wii, but now Skyward Sword's coming in HD. They're like, why is this $60? How dare they? It's like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
That reminds me, GoldenEye. This is like similar, like GoldenEye for the Wii came with a golden controller.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
I don't know if it came with it, but you could definitely buy one.
It did come with it because I bought it together.
Oh, weird. Okay.
And the golden Wii controller was just a golden Wiimote because you need
no, it's like a controller, like because the Wii also had an attachment that you could use like a regular controller. It was that controller but gold, not the Wiimote.
Okay. The bundle with the Zelda, but I think GoldenEye did come with that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
So I'm saying like people thought that the Wiimote should come bundled with the game like did.
Yeah, I'm not mad about this because you had like Wii Motion Plus was like new technology you needed to play this game properly, whereas you just need to have a Switch. Like this, buying the super special controller is not necessary for this game. It's just it's a accessory, a fun accessory.
It's literally just a new paint job. It's an aesthetic. That's all
you don't it's not necessary.
Yeah. Hi, Jeremy.
We have a special guest once again on the
right,
podcast.
It's sound like this. I like it, right?
Zelda. Give me some Z-Dog.
Star Wars, but we still got a long ways to go. Maybe more like
Jeremy.
Yes, dear.
We're talking about Skyward Sword. Do you want to tell them what you think about Skyward Sword coming to Switch?
Oh, yeah, I haven't played it. Oh, but you know what's really cool now that I actually have this in front of me is that I can recreate all of the music from Breath of the Wild. Check it out. Wait, I need to. Here we go. Whoa, it's really loud. It's kind of all like that.
You only get this in live shows.
Man, it sounds just as good as when I played it.
It's basically just a lot of that. Anyway, yeah, I haven't played Skyward Sword, but I'm excited that it's coming to Switch because I got one of those. I didn't buy the Wii U. As a layman, video game normie, as we are referred to in the industry, I had no interest in buying a Wii U, but I had all the interest in playing a Zelda game, and so those two things didn't quite match up for me, and now they will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy
That's all
approved.
I have to say on that one. I'm gonna go drink some hot chocolate.
Hell yeah, thanks,
Take
Jeremy.
my keyboard, your keyboard with me.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Splatoon 3.
Hey, it's another Splatoon game. There you go.
It's
I
coming.
didn't know he was going to do that. He just came around the corner with a giant keyboard.
It happens. Musicians just do that.
Anyway, sorry. Skyward Sword, I'm also excited to play it on Switch. Splatoon.
All right. Mario Golf.
You guys talking about Splatoon?
No.
No, get away!
Yeah, I never played Splatoon. Maybe now that it's on the Switch, I'll play it.
What'd you say, Brandon? What was the question? Mario Golf?
Mario Golf.
Yeah.
This looks sick. I love Mario Golf, and this looks like the rapid mode where you have to like fast golf. Looks really fun.
Yeah.
No, funny enough, Mario Golf is one of those it's a Mario sports game that I never played, but I remember a lot of people talking about and loving, especially back in the original N64. And I'm actually very curious because they mentioned story mode. And fun fact, because they also came out with a Mario Golf for the Game Boy Color to coincide with the N64, but the Game Boy Color one is not just a regular golf game featuring Mario characters. It is a story-driven RPG where you have to play golf against Mario and his friends to win the game.
I'm into it.
Yeah, it was made by the same people who developed the RPG Golden Sun, Camelot.
Oh shit, that actually sounds. Now I'm actually interested in that game. That's cool.
So the Game Boy Color version of Mario Golf and Mario Tennis, they're both RPG style sports games.
Hello, Emulator.
Yeah, I mean, they said, hey, here's a story mode in Mario Golf. I'm thinking, well, it's probably not going to be an RPG, but who knows? It could have some little rumblings of all those old Game Boy Color games. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Project Triangle.
Oh, I am so excited for this one. Oh my god. So the working title is Project Triangle Strategy, and a lot of people are, and I believe it's made by the same company who develops the RPG Octopath Traveler.
Yep.
This game looks gorgeous. It is. It's not pixel perfect 16-bit style art, but it is a feast for the eyes, and it's a RPG. It is. I probably gotta just take my Switch and download the demo. What?
So the developers who made Octopath Traveler, they've kind of like developed like their own like phrase for what it's called visually, and they call it 2D HD.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's cool.
Because it's like it's not quite just pixelated, but it looks better. It looks better than just like old school games, but it's not quite like modern. Yeah, like it looks like a really dope tactical RPG with lots of options and looks real good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one was definitely a huge. It was definitely like a huge like, whoa, this is gonna look great because I haven't played Octopath Traveler yet, but a lot of people love it, and this is a new tactical RPG, and with Final Fantasy Tactics and Fire Emblem still, with mostly Fire Emblem, but this game gave me mad Final Fantasy Tactics vibes, and we haven't had a new Final Fantasy Tactics since Grimoire of the Rift for the Nintendo DS, which came out in like 2007.
Yeah, this looks very, very FF Tactics.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. I need to get that demo downloaded on my Switch because I'm probably going to get this day one. This looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Hunters, set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Fun fact.
No idea what that game is, and it's made by Zynga, the creators of Candy Crush. So get ready to have a really shitty, lame mobile game.
Gonna be Mandalorian Crush.
Mandalorian Crush, yeah.
Not that mobile games coming to Switch is bad. Like look at Among Us. That's also a mobile game.
That's not the type of mobile game. I mean,
yeah.
I mean the free to play games where like everything's loot box related. Like it looks like one of those games.
Yeah. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is coming to the Switch and the Xbox. That was also announced this week.
That's awesome.
It's about time. I really wish that they were coming with an announcement that crossplay would
Yeah.
be achievable at this point because Fall Guys really, I think, should benefit from that. I kind of understood when it was just PlayStation and PC why we weren't getting it, but at this point, I'm like, nah, we need crossplay on all systems because it's lit.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it wasn't out on the other systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
It's
it was.
been Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I actually, honest to God, I thought it was out on Xbox. When they said, yeah, it's coming to Switch, and then you guys say, yeah, it's coming to Xbox too. I'm like, you mean it's not on Xbox yet? That's interesting.
Yeah, that's been a big detriment for there are people. Jeremy's a great example actually, where I think he'd really like Fall Guys, but he only has a Switch and an Xbox. He doesn't have PlayStation, so they haven't. Marty, a friend of the podcast, Marty is another one of those people where I really want him to play Fall Guys. I think that's a game he'd really like, but he hasn't had a PlayStation this whole time, and that's been a big bummer because that's a good game, good multiplayer pass your time with game. And it has been shocking, especially I think with Switch, but in general, that it hasn't been accessible on all of them. I hope they add crossplay soon.
Me too.
Yeah, they probably will.
There are other announcements. Are there anything else you want to talk about Nintendo Direct? Because there's a lot of games are coming. This game is coming to Switch, so it was on this other
I don't
console.
think so. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the biggest of directs.
Yeah,
you covered the big strokes.
Yeah. We already talked about the big ones. So yeah, all the bigger stuff is probably going to be coming summer E3.
Yeah. Okay.
We talked about the Monster Hunter game.
The Monster Hunter Rise trailer.
Yeah, that Monster Hunter game looks dope as hell.
It does.
Oh my god! I need to buy a new TV, unfortunately, but I'm this close to buying a Switch because that Monster Hunter game looks so good. Oh my god!
I didn't realize until I saw it because I follow Patrick Klepek from Waypoint on Twitter, and I didn't realize that there'd never been a spider creature in Monster Hunter until this game. There's never been a spider type, and they had a reason for it. And then Patrick Klepek made a push for it during an interview, and that has not necessarily that was a 1-to-1, but he definitely brought it up during an interview why there's never been a spider thing, and now there's finally spider types.
Thank you, Mag.
Yeah.
Mag says No More Heroes 3.
Oh yeah, No More Heroes is a really cool slasher beat 'em up on the Wii. It's you basically have a lightsaber, and it was a really cool motion game. That's cool that the third one's coming out. Thank you, Mag. I completely forgot about that one.
I completely forgot about that too because I remember fans of No More Heroes saying, "Hey, where the heck is No More Heroes 3?" Because I think it was announced a while ago.
It was
been buried under stuff.
They made a couple side games too. It's not like a Kingdom Hearts scenario, but this where's the next game, guys? You keep putting out these weird side projects and nah, we finally got it.
Well,
that's a wild series.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Gremlins: The Secrets of the Mogwai, the new HBO Max prequel series, has announced its cast. Ming-Na Wen will play Fong Wing, a doctor of Chinese medicine who is said to be resourceful, slyly funny, and fiercely protective of her family. B.D. Wong will play Han Wing, a character described as a calm rock who never believed his father-in-law's tales of magic and adventure. Isaac Wang will play Sam Wing, who is the shop owner from Gremlins 1.
Nice.
Him as a 10-year-old. That's what the series is about. It's him as a 10-year-old.
Love it.
James Hong will play his grandfather. Matthew Reese will play the villain Riley Green, a power-hungry English industrialist and treasure hunter who wields black magic that is determined to stop at nothing in his pursuit of Gizmo and the mythical treasure of the Mogwai.
That's awesome.
Apparently has an army of gremlins, too. AJ Lacasia will play Gizmo. Gabriel Green will play Elle, who is Sam's best friend. I have the synopsis. Did we ever talk about what the series is about?
I don't remember, but I love Gremlins 1 and 2 so much. So please tell me more.
Okay, so basically, it's set in 1920s Shanghai. The animated television adaptation will tell the story of how Sam Wing met the young Mogwai called Gizmo. Sam and Gizmo, together with Elle, will take a perilous journey through the Chinese countryside, encountering and sometimes battling colorful monsters and spirits from Chinese folklore. However, on their quest to return Gizmo to his family and uncover a legendary treasure, they will be pursued by Riley Green and his growing army of evil gremlins.
This sounds incredible. First of all, the first 2 Gremlin movies have never, like, they didn't touch into the bigger world of anything of magic. It's like, this is a weird creature that I have that you now have main character.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the main villain in 1920s Shanghai is like a British magician, and you're fighting Chinese mythology monsters. Like, are you kidding me? This sounds incredible. Like, I don't know what I do with Gremlins, but I'm into it.
This sounds like one of those old animated shows that, like the Karate Kid, the animated series, where he's fighting like statue monsters and things. Yeah. It feels like that, but like really dope.
Right.
I'm very curious about the tone because Gremlins is very much like dark comedy. I'm wondering if it's going to continue to be like that or be like more family friendly. Like I'm very curious because it's animated.
Yeah, I think we're looking at probably an adventure. I don't know how family friendly they're willing to get because it is HBO Max. They could skew a little older.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm curious if it'll be like, because I think Gremlins is considered PG, but that's definitely more like a PG-13 situation.
It would be PG-13 if that rating existed at the time.
At the time, yeah.
That's one of those ones that fell in the line of like, well, it's not PG and it's definitely not R.
Yeah.
It's also been renewed for a second season ahead of its first season premiere.
Hot dog.
So cool.
Real quick, do you guys like Gremlins at all?
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Cool.
Ben, you'd really like it.
Yeah, I think you would actually really like it.
Great movie. I just showed Zara a couple weeks ago. Okay, Wednesday. Not the day. The Addams. Wednesday Addams is getting a live-action TV series on Netflix. Going to be an 8-episode series based off the Addams Family character, Wednesday Addams. Tim Burton will direct the series, making his TV debut. Showrunner, executive producers Al Goo, and Miles Miller, who were the showrunners for Smallville and currently Into the Badlands.
Okay.
They are developing the series for Netflix. The series will see her arrive at Nevermore Academy, where she'll learn to control her psychic powers, deal with murderous monsters, and solve a mystery involving her parents.
Does she have psychic powers?
Nope.
I think that's Algo, by the way.
Algo?
This is like Vincent Van Gogh. That's the team that did Smallville.
Yeah.
Go and Miller. Yeah, that's the synopsis is wild. I don't know what to make of it.
I'm always up for new ideas, but like, why would the family send Wednesday away?
Wednesday Addams isn't even, to me, the most interesting character in that series. It's Gomez and Morticia.
Because she has psychic powers. That's why they'd send her away.
Does she have psychic powers?
She does now.
Okay. This sounds like a CW. This sounds like the Powerpuff Girls show, but it's on Netflix. Like it's like such a weird translation of it.
Well, no, for real though. This is Wednesday Addams is now going to college.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Like I'm not against it, but like it's weird that she has psychic powers. I really hope this is secretly just like. Also, like, I don't think Tim Burton's really put out anything good in like the last 10 years, but like that dude still has an aesthetic style that I really like and appreciate. So maybe like he was a guy who I always wanted to tackle Addams Family because he does have the right aesthetic for that. It's I'm glad that he's directing. It's weird that it's focusing on one character. I wish it was the family.
Me too. I like them as a family unit. I don't think they really work as like single characters. And
it's just going to be like she's going to be like the mean girl, but she's not really the mean girl. She's just misunderstood or like something. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
She's very sarcastic. She has very dry, sarcastic humor.
Tim Burton tried to get a stop motion Addams Family movie off the ground a couple years ago, and that didn't happen.
I'd be into that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been rumored, like we were talking not long ago about the possibility of him being attached to a live action Addams Family film that everybody was shopping around like, oh, we want Johnny Depp as Gomez and blah. So I guess this is where that project ended up. I was just looking back at Tim Burton's past decade filmography, and it really is like every once in a while something special, but most of it's miss.
Like, yeah, his best stuff is kind of sadly behind him, but like,
well, his last thing was Dumbo, which was not
Fine.
bad. I thought surprisingly better than I thought. And I think you saw Big Eyes, right, Brandon?
I did like that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Big Eyes, which is a really, really smaller, lesser known film from him. But past that, yeah, it's not great. So who knows? This really the one thing that throws me off is I'm like, Wednesday never needed psychic abilities. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah.
Who
Weird.
knows?
All right. This one is just for Ben. Ryan, Sparks, leave. This is
All right,
going to be Ben. Ben, Stephen King
Oh, God damn it.
is getting a new adaptation. You see, Stephen King's The Running Man is going to be readapted by none other than Edgar Wright.
this is actually hella cool news, man.
Sparks, since you actually did not hear us, it's Running Man. Edgar Wright's The Running Man.
Running Man is a super cool 80s action movie. Edgar Wright is awesome.
I knew what we were doing because I knew the news had Stephen King stuff. So I got you. I knew where we were. Yeah, this is very exciting. I'm glad that Ben's getting this.
Me too.
Hell yeah. We'll watch the original and compare.
Yeah, I think this is super cool. Edgar Wright diving into this Stephen King world.
And like he's definitely made action movies, but like this is like an action movie. Like an action movie.
Yeah, and he doesn't usually do a lot of adaptation unless he really likes the project.
Yeah. It's also based off a book. It's really like Stephen King. Like I'm just thinking of the movie.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean is like, I think Edgar Wright's probably much more attached to the source material than he is to the old original film.
Yeah. That's what he said, that the movie will be a more faithful adaptation to the book than the original movie.
Sounds good.
He was co-writing it with Michael Bacall.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
It feels I'm trying to imagine Stephen King's writing style meshed with Edgar Writing's editing style. And that's going to be really interesting to see where that correlates and how it comes about.
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be Stephen King's like great dialogue and like character work, and Edgar Wright's ability to actually finish something and have a good ending.
Speaking of not being able to finish things,
Game of Thrones?
This actually worked really well because George R.R. Martin is adapting a new TV series, a book series, into a TV series. Not his. It's like a friend of his who passed away. He's adapting it for him.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a new sci-fi fantasy novel for HBO about a road that extends throughout time, exiting at various points in the past and future. It's called Road Marks.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
You've got a lot on your plate, my man.
Yeah.
Yes, he's executive producing it, and the showrunner will be Kalinda Vasquez, who was the showrunner for Fear the Walking Dead and the second showrunner for Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, okay.
What was that other sci-fi show he worked on that was Dead on Arrival?
Night Flyers.
Night Flyers.
Oh my god, that looked so good. I didn't hear anything about it.
It aired for a week and then was canceled.
Oh.
They aired all the episodes in 1 week and said, okay, we're done. We got rid of this. They literally shit it out.
Wild.
Yeah, so cool. This actually sounds like a cool concept.
It does.
I'm into it.
Yeah. I'm going to read the story because I didn't get this. But the time-traveling road of the story was created by the mysterious dragons of Belquinid. Dragons, exactly. But nothing is known about the creatures or their intentions. There's a lot of noise happening. Okay. Only certain people have the ability to exit the road. One of which is Red Dorakeen, the story's protagonist.
Red Dovahkiin?
Dorakeen.
No, yeah. Yo, man, this is like dragons and like time travel or whatever. I'm into it. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Give it a shot. And then Zack Snyder is developing a faithful retelling of the King Arthur legend.
I guess I got to give that Guy Ritchie movie a chance now.
No, you don't.
What does the word faithful
seen
mean?
Sorry, real quick. I've seen some people because of this news, give that movie props, saying people need to give that movie another chance. So I will give it another chance because apparently it's got cool magic shit.
I mean, it does, but okay. The last time I saw it was in theater, so maybe I do need to rewatch it.
Could be bad, but like faithful retelling. Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, like, I'm with Sparks though. What does faithful mean? The King Arthur legend is filled with all sorts of nothing, all sorts of just mixed messages and different stories that intersect in weird ways, and like depends on the country. Like France, Lancelot didn't exist until the legend went to France.
Just give us the Green Knight already.
Just give us the Green Knight already for real.
I feel like the concept is for faithful with Zack Snyder is going to be that like King Arthur just, what a man's man, and he's just going to have no hesitancy, and he's just going to boss it all up, and it's going to be no problem. And
so is that Excalibur is actually going to be M80 machine gun. He's just going to
No, this is faithful, Ben. So it's clearly going to be the Middle Ages. He's not going to get an AR-15 into the Middle Ages.
Zack Snyder's aesthetic isn't based in like gun action. He can do things without guns in it. It's just like it's the hyper masculinity behind that kind of action tonality that he does. That's going to like infect this hardcore.
It'll be of him following the greatest man of all time who led this army against like a rebel faction who was trying to conquer, and how like he became the leader of a nation, and like he created like a free society with his Camelot. Blah blah blah. Blah, blah.
Oh my God, he's
gonna super hard to have fucking.
He's gonna like amplify Morgana as the bad guy in like a way where he's like, women are bad.
He's gonna be
but he'll like think he's doing it in a way where he's saying women are empowered. Wait, what he's gonna say is women are just bad.
Wait, isn't the witch Morgan Le Fay?
It's Morgana, Morgan. It's both translations exist.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, get off my back, Ben. I've read more King Arthur than you.
That's
many versions in my brain.
That's what we're talking about, though, Ben. Like, what does faithful mean? Because just like that, is it Morgana or is it Morgan Le Fay?
Yep. Oh, I know.
One of the things that I want to say about this is, hey, go watch the miniseries Merlin with Sam Neill and the Camelot musical. You want some good King Arthur adaptations? There you go.
Go ahead.
I watched that Merlin miniseries because I had it on VHS. I watched that thing literally dozens of times when I was a child, and I'm really scared to go back because I wonder if it still holds up because it's so treasured in my heart.
You know what? Effects wise and probably pacing wise, because it's a miniseries, probably not. But the story is still there. That miniseries is solid.
Okay.
Also, you can watch the very fun Merlin BBC series, which is What If Smallville but Merlin. I'm not kidding with you. It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Excalibur is good, if probably a little dated at this point. But yeah, that is a good one.
Which one's Excalibur? I never heard of that one.
It's from the 80s. It's got Helen Mirren.
Oh, okay.
It's one of like an early 80s.
82. I think, yeah. It's got a crazy sex scene right at the beginning that I saw at a way too early age, and I didn't expect it because the knight's like he's basically wearing like his armor, and he's got like a dick. He's got like a dick hole that he opens up with his armor, and I'm like, what?
The BBC show starts off slow, but like the Gwen who Arthur ends up with is a person of color, which is awesome. Uther is Anthony Stewart Head, Giles from Buffy, and he's fantastic. And the one who becomes Morgan Le Fay, the one who becomes she goes by Morgana when she becomes the witch, is Lena Luthor from Supergirl.
Oh.
And she's like the Michael Rosenbaum of that show, which is really great.
Now, the only thing of King Arthur media that I can think of that I grew that actually was this children's book that I found when I was in 5th grade, and that introduced me to the King Arthur legend.
I thought you were going to say the Clive Owen movie.
No.
Clive Owen did not do a movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're right. Sorry, I must be having a fever dream.
Yeah, the movie sucks.
I mean, besides that, of course, you got Monty Python, but that's Monty Python.
That's a good movie, though.
It cannot possibly get more faithful than Monty Python, sir.
True. All right.
The holy hand grenade of Antioch.
I forgot.
That's as I know it in the true history books.
Yep.
The true. Havoc. Not the X-Men character. A new movie coming from Gareth Evans. He will write, direct, and produce a Netflix movie called Havoc starring Tom Hardy.
Cool. Is this the last movie he made was Rogue One, right?
No, that's Gareth Edwards.
Oh, wrong Gareth. My bad.
This is the raid guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is gonna be dope. Whatever it is.
Havoc follows Hardy as a detective making his way through the criminal world after a botched drug deal, tasked with rescuing a politician's son while also discovering how deep the corruption in his city runs.
Cool. That guy, it's gonna probably be just like a dope action movie. Sounds good.
Yeah. And then the best news of the week, guys. Paddington 3 is officially in pre-production. However, Paul King... Sorry.
No, we're getting Sparks. We're watching those Paddington movies. Maybe it's happening finally.
Yeah, I've watched the first one. I just haven't seen that second one.
Oh, sweet. I haven't seen the second one either. Then we can
I haven't seen either one.
Get on it. Get on it, Ben. Get ready for your life to be changed.
Paul King, who directed the first two, is unfortunately not expected to return to direct in this one. Hopefully that changes, but it doesn't look like it.
Well, then it's a waste.
Yeah.
It's all a wash. No point.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Paddington 2 is so good. Trailers. T-Talk. We're gonna run back to Nintendo with Playing with Power, the Nintendo story, a Crackle docuseries.
I was so happy you added this into the trailers because I saw this on my Twitter feed. I'm like, okay, if it didn't add in trailers, I'm going to ask for it because I think this is really cool that we're getting a documentary series.
And you can put you don't have to ask, just put it in there, man. I don't care. Talk about what you want.
Yeah. Well, I literally had something today. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I saw it on the thing, so I was like, cool. I don't have to let you guys know.
What do we think about this one? This looks good, actually.
Yeah, let's you guys go first. You know me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's one of those like behind the scenes of the history of Nintendo. Like they really were a company like since the 1800s, and like they've been around for a while, and how like they made a cool transition in the video games. And there's like when people think of video games, they think of Nintendo. That is mostly true for a lot of people. So I'm excited. I hope because Nintendo is one of the most secretive companies on the planet. I'm really curious how much in-depth quote unquote secrets we're gonna get. Because like they're very hush hush on like the Japan as a society, they're much more protective of their knowledge and stuff.
Yeah. Sparks, do you have anything to add about this one?
No, it looks cool.
One thing I do have something to add for this trailer because this trailer, and even with the books and documentaries like a Console Wars, because I'm super happy that we're getting another video game documentary. I feel like we're getting a whole bunch of them going into mainstream. We had High Score on Netflix, Console Wars on CBS All Access, and now we're getting this one. This one I hope is not going to shy away from some of the sketchy shit Nintendo did, because they were actually in a lot of lawsuits in the late 80s, early 90s. One of the most famous ones that actually was mentioned in Console Wars was that they were in a fight with Universal over the rights of Donkey Kong.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed pretty clear in the trailer they're going to go through that.
Well, which I'm excited because they're going to be like, hey, Nintendo was. I mean, even Nolan Bushnell himself, the co-founder of Atari, said Nintendo was kind of drunk with power. And if you watched Console Wars, which I watched the first 30 minutes of the other night, it's like, yeah, Nintendo kind of got a little too big for their britches. And also what I'm happy about this documentary, this one's coming to the present. It's not just, hey, we're gonna stop right in the middle like Console Wars did. It's like, oh, N64, stop before the N64 comes out. This is going all the way to today.
The benefit of a docu-series rather than a documentary. I'm shocked that Crackle still puts out original content like this.
You know what? I was actually scared that when it said Crack was like a Crackle original. I'm like, wait, Crackle's still around?
Sony is Crackle, right?
Do they own Crackle? Probably. I think so.
I'm 95% sure that's their not streaming service, but their like original product. Weird place.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely.
I don't know. Probably.
It definitely explains the big PlayStation nod in the trailer.
I mean, it's odd because like Nintendo is such a big company. You'd think this would be like an HBO Netflix thing, but it's Crackle. It's some company I forgot existed.
I mean, it did say watch for free, so maybe I could watch the series with ads, or if I have to do a 7-day free trial, I'll just do that when all the whole
It's with
series
ads. It's with ads.
is with that. Okay, I can watch it with ads. That's fine. But I'm definitely gonna watch this when it comes out. I'm very much looking forward to watching this because I also Sean Astin's narrating it. I'm super happy. I love it when he narrates stuff. So
Okay.
Yay, more history for me to learn. Yay.
Sparks, thank you so much for getting me Marvel's The Avengers. Because this looks awesome. Marvel's Avengers video game, the next story, is going to be Hawkeye, Future Imperfect. That is going to drop on March 18th, which is the same day the game will drop on the next-gen consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox XS.
Real quick before I go into it, when they announced that this game was coming out, they said Spider-Man was coming out in March. So Spider-Man is not coming out anytime soon because Hawkeye was supposed to come out last year. So I'm glad that he's coming out, but the pandemic really screwed things over. So like we're getting our second character now when we were supposed to be on our third character already. So like I'm just like I understand, I'm not mad about it. Some people are in a scuttlebutt because they're probably children.
But I thought this looked really interesting. The idea of doing Maestro in the Future Imperfect storyline through Hawkeye.
Yeah. I like Sparks. You've been playing it. I think that campaign's great. I think Kate is so good, and her story content is so good. So if it's any of that quality, which it is, because it's like they're basically like two stories in one that leads into this story. It's going to be great. It makes sense that they kind of play similarly, but have many different aspects. It's crazy the amount of arrows he has. He has literally like 10 different arrows you can use. I'm like, that's like twice as many as Kate. That's insane. Looks really cool. Like I'm so excited to play that game again.
I'm pumped about this. I'm pumped to finish the campaign. I actually had to slow down because I was getting near the end of the campaign. And I'm like, I really should do some character specific missions that I've just been too pumped about the campaign to go do. So I'm gonna focus on those for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm also excited to dive into this because of this game. The Fraction Hawkeye in the Maestro world looked really interesting. We had Pizza Dog. He's there.
It's so cool because it's like people seem to really also like that Old Man Hawkeye book. Like
and he's in this.
Yeah, like it's every incarnation of Hawkeye, like young and old, and his villain, his personas, and Ronin. Like it's fun. It's cool that like they're not half-assing it. It looks cool.
Yeah. That reminded me. I was going to mention with Constantine that they should do a movie that's Keanu Reeves, Matt Ryan, and whoever the new Constantine is. All is Constantine.
It's like the Doctors.
The Constantine multiverse.
The three Constantines.
Yeah. Dota.
Constantinople.
Ryan, do you want a quick rundown of what this video game franchise is?
Oh my god, you guys. First of all, does anyone know what Dota stands for?
No.
Nope.
Okay, cool. So there's a game called Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 was a real-time strategy game that came out in the early 2000s. There was a mod for it called Defense of the Ancients. And it was a Warcraft was a game where you play with many, many units. This Defense of the Ancients mod is where you play as one hero unit. And it kind of birthed a new genre of games in a way. It became super popular, this one mod. Blizzard had rights to Defense of the Ancients. So the guy who made the mod wanted to make a game. He wasn't allowed to. So he just made a game called Dota 2. But it's not actually Defense of the Ancients. It's just called Dota 2. So there's a game that's been around for 10 years. It's one of the most played multiplayer games on the planet, Defense of the Ancients 2, but it's only called Dota 2 for rights reasons. It has all the characters from Warcraft, but they're not the Warcraft characters, plus a decade's worth of new characters. It's become its own thing, but it's a Warcraft initial thing. It's getting its own animated series now.
The news is that Dota Dragon's Blood will be coming to Netflix, an animated series done by Studio Mirror, who I love their animation.
This looks good.
Yeah,
Cool. I really want to watch this.
Studio Mirror did Voltron, which is why I really like them. Ashley Edward Miller, who is the screenplay co-writer on X-Men First Class and Thor.
Nice.
Is the showrunner, so she wrote the series as well. 8 episodes, and they also announced the cast after the trailer. But let's just talk about the trailer right now. What do we think about the trailer? It looks awesome.
It's
It
a
does.
high budget mature fantasy show. Like for the lowest expectations of what I was going into, this looks insanely cool. Very much like the Arc 2 trailer for that animated show. Yeah. These are both multiplayer centric games with really not much real story that are getting a bunch of story now through animated form with like a lot of budget and production behind them. Like I'm so excited for this thing.
Yeah, me too. Sparks.
I'm not going to ever play the game, but
no, but I'll watch the show.
Yes.
Sparks, did you have something to add?
Not really. I'm not trying to take the wind out of anyone's sails, but like it just didn't grab me. I couldn't even really tell you why. It just didn't.
My sails have been deflated.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Like, hey, it doesn't have to always grab. Not everything grabs everyone. I again, like high budget, mature fantasy shit where people are getting like bloody punches and big old dragons. Like it just looks cool.
You know, it looks like Netflix TV series or how you do video game adaptations.
Also, the animation isn't the bullshit 3D. Like it looks really good.
Yeah, it's not Polygon Pictures, and it's not whoever did Castlevania. I forgot what they're called. It's Studio Mirror, who does excellent. Like I love God of High School is not great, but their animation is excellent.
Yeah,
the animation does look good. I can't really pinpoint the reason. Just like I watched the trailer and it kind of left me with no particular impression.
Yeah.
They checked boxes for me. I'm like, I'm gonna give this a shot.
They announced the cast. Yuri Lowenthal, Spider-Man, Peter Parker from Spider-Man PS4, will play Davian, who's a Dragon Knight. Laura Pulver will play Marana, Princess of the Moon. Tony Todd will play Slyrak, an Ember Eldworm dragon. It's a dragon. Troy Baker, the Invoker. Carrie Walgren plays Luna, a Moonrider.
Cool.
Alex Wilton Reagan will play Salamine, Goddess of the Moon. Freya Tingley will play Fimrin. These are fun. Stephanie Jacobson will play Drisa.
Wow.
Josh Keaton, my favorite of mine, will play Braum, who's David Fire. Oh.
Isn't Josh Keaton the 90s Spider-Man?
Spectacular Spider-Man.
There you go.
And he's also in Voltron.
Okay.
Anson Mount will play Caden, and then JB Blanc will play someone we don't know who.
Cool. That's a nice big cast.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of those characters you named are Dota characters. I'm sure they are.
It's coming out March 25th. I was surprised that we've heard nothing about this, and it's coming out next month.
That's the trend with the pandemic, right? Like get your shit right out the door, right? When it's coming
out. Content.
Yeah.
All right. Invincible had a third trailer.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think this looks excellent.
I'm looking forward to it.
I always talk first, so I'm trying not to talk first.
No, I was expecting you. You
no, I meant these two gentlemen, not you.
Sparks, anything? Invincible?
It looks good. I don't have a lot to embellish or add to that.
Ben?
Same. It looks awesome. Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I think this looks great.
I mean, part of it is like nothing. Like I'm not familiar with it, so I can't embellish on like how good it looks in comparison to the comic. So I would just be iterating more of what we've already said with every little bit we've gotten in Invincible, where I'm like, it looks good. I want to watch it. That's pretty much all I got to tell you.
It's an hour-long animated rated R mature like comic book show, and like not a lot of people seem to know that until the moment when Battle Beast beats the shit out of this teenage boy, and you see blood exude from his body, and that's like a big opening moment for a lot of people watching this trailer. They're like, this show, people are not ready for how fucked up the show's gonna get. Like really, like it is messed up. Especially with like the family stuff, like it gets really dark and grim. And I'm just like, with this trailer, they're showing like they're absolutely going for it. They're not shying away from it. It's gonna be. He's the same guy who made The Walking Dead. So like, that's all I gotta say. You know.
Yeah, I'm very stoked for this. I'm excited to read the comic book as well, because I'm going to get into the comic book soon. Yeah, this is not the Seth Rogen one. That's the movie. I I love the animation. I love how brutal it looks. I love the voice cast. I love that this one was just like, look how cool our voice cast is.
It's a lot of people, man.
A lot.
Excited. All right. Cruella. We got a first look at the Emma Stone Cruella de Vil solo film. What do we think about this one?
People on the internet don't seem to like it.
Did we?
I don't give a shit about the 101 Dalmatians. So for me, this is the dopest looking Catwoman movie I've ever seen. This looks cool to me.
Yeah, this looks bad.
Okay, I'm gonna take this to say, like, yeah, I think this looks awesome. And this is the honestly, this is what I want a Joker to look like.
Yeah,
I want this bad. I want this so bad.
I'm so glad we all agree.
That's just so good. So glad about that. I was like tiptoeing in this. I was like,
oh man, I was confused for a moment because I thought Ben said that this looked bad. I realize now he said that.
Oh no, rad art.
Yeah, I understand that now, but like for a moment I was like, oh, Ben. Oh. No, okay. So what happened is I woke up that morning and I saw the GIF of her lighting the outfit on fire, and I turned to Megan and I'm like, we need to go watch the Cruella trailer right now. And so put that on, and I was like, because look, I have been interested since they announced Emma Stone playing her, and I'm like, I don't know what this movie is. I don't know how you tell a story about Cruella, like in a way where she's the main character. And it works. I don't know how you do that. And like, it hadn't occurred to me that just don't make the movie about the puppy killing thing. That hadn't occurred to me. So I'm like, how do you make that character where that's kind of the character trait work as someone that people can like want to follow, want to be engaged in their adventures? And then the trailer happens and I'm like, oh, you make it about her rise into fashion and her taking over the world of fashion for its time period, and you don't focus on the dog thing. And I'm like, brilliant. Wow. Yes, love it.
Dalmatians snarling at her, which, okay, cool, because we all know she's the 101 Dalmatians villain. But you also get her saying that, oh, I'm bad, but I'm also a little mad. Like one of the scenes I love is like it's a shot of her in bed, her mascara's running. It's just, but it looks like she had a hell of a night, and she looks like she's just had a crying fit, but then she smiles, and Emma Stone just nails the cackle.
So that's what I said. That's what I meant when I said that I want a Joker to look like this. This doesn't look like to be about a sympathetic retelling of her fall of grace. This is just she's evil. Right from the get-go, and she's a bad person, and we are following a bad person's rise, and that's what I'm like. That's Joker. This is Joker.
Yeah, it's. I'm truly just like the look of this trailer. I'm impressed that Disney went there with this, and I really I'm vibing with it hardcore, and I want it. I don't like this mentality that I've seen going around since the trailer dropped on Twitter, where not necessarily the comparisons to Joker, but where it's like everyone's like, oh, so they went and made her like full-blown psychotic out of nowhere to make her more like Joker. That's what they're going for. They want to make a Joker movie, so they made her like that. And I'm like, yo, did y'all watch 101 Dalmatians? Because she's nuts at the end of that movie. She is crazy. Like, this isn't out of nowhere. This wasn't created to make this character. She's that. She always was that. That mentality has really irked me, where they act like they changed the character radically to make her more like Joker. And I'm like, she was always cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Correct me if I am wrong, but isn't one of the most famous shots from 101 Dalmatians when she's driving in the car in the snow and her eyes are just super big and there's like multicolors in her eyes that she's rage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of got a bits of that in this trailer. I'm like, yeah, that's Cruella freaking de Vil. Her last
if anything, one of the things that I'm happy about this trailer is that they didn't change Cruella.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And like So some of that reaction bothered me. The other thing that bothered me is that everybody acting like, so this is just going to have nothing to do with 101 Dalmatians. They're not going to do anything with that. And I'm like, if you watched 101 Dalmatians, you know one particular thing. There is a reason why Cruella is in Anita's life, why she knows about the puppies. They went to college together. All that this movie has to do to relate to 101 Dalmatians is show her relationship with Anita. Which is a weird relationship. If you watch that animated movie again, it is bizarre that they they are still kind of friends in a way where like Anita feels like she kind of needs to be Cruella's friend. But they're college roommates, and that's where it comes from. And you can just have that and still not even touch the dog thing, and it works.
Absolutely.
Right.
This is the same director from I, Tonya, and that's another movie about a protagonist who is kind of an antagonist. And like the big thing on Twitter was, and again, because this is a Disney character, like, oh my God, how do you make a movie about a character like this? Like, how are you supposed to make me root for them? I'm like, who says we're supposed to root for her? Like, she's the bad guy. Like, this is a journey into who she becomes. Like, again, with Joker, like, I'm not rooting for the Joker. I'm on the journey with the Joker.
Yeah. I will use this analogy, even though I like Maleficent. Maleficent is a movie that changes a bad guy into a good guy, a misunderstood good guy.
Yeah.
And while I like how weird the Maleficent franchise is, and I like that it exists, this Cruella is not that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we were kind of afraid Cruella was going to try to do that. It was going to try to Maleficent her. And I'm like, you can't. She wants to kill the puppies.
Is there... So again, I haven't seen 101 Dalmatians, and I'm going to call it 101 because I'm hip. The 101 Dalmatians since I was a wee lad. Does Cruella de Vil, like, is she like a tech savvy? Like, she's straight up doing Catwoman shit, and I'm like, I don't remember that at all from the character. But also, this is like 40 years ago, so like, does this track you guys?
The very first scene where I believe we see, and once again, it's also been years, decades since I last saw 101 Dalmatians, is Cruella in the apartment with Anita, and she has the cigarette, like the elongated cigarette.
She's not tech savvy. This takes place in the 70s, I believe.
I mean, but like she's doing like jewel robbery looking shit. I mean,
oh, I see what you mean.
She does
yeah,
have
like coming down buildings and
Uh,
stuff.
You're saying this movie takes place in the 1870s?
No. 1970s.
So, I don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they wanted to do like a grungy 1970s.
It definitely seems like it's an older aesthetic for sure. Yeah, like this is like if Glenn Close is from the 90s, it's definitely at least like earlier than that. Yeah.
Well, I think Sparks is probably because 101 Dalmatians takes place in the 50s.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Oh,
I think they moved the timeline up.
it's the Marvel timeline thing.
Well, some things in it don't look 70s to me, but I know what you mean. Like there's some things around like the manor and the town where I'm like, this looks like what was confusing about it to me was it looked like it was going for like the late 50s, but it was doing it with her already younger rather than like leading up to the 50s. But it did look like, but I can see where it's also the 70s. It could be.
yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I want to see it. I think anybody who's ragging on it is stupid.
Oh, I thought I found it for a second. Sorry. Oh, nope, I didn't find it. Keyword.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. Mortal Kombat.
I can't handle it. I gotta go.
It looks bad. I think it looks like trash.
I talked to you about this. You can't do it.
You almost convinced me.
I'm like bullshit.
Nobody needs this.
I think this looks awesome.
Guys, I legit haven't been this excited for like the movie could be a piece of shit, like it could be a decent action movie, like really bad acting or whatever. The next like 2 months, I'm gonna be living in bliss because this trailer was like the best trailer I've seen in a long time. Not just because it's Mortal Kombat. I think this was a sick action trailer with great music and like it sets it up perfectly. Like, oh my god! And it's just a Red Band trailer. They didn't give us like a PG. They just went straight for the R. Like perfect. Like just a perfect trailer. I think.
I'm super stoked for this movie. I am really happy that they're using they're not shying away from Mortal Kombat powers. Kano has a laser coming out of his eyes. Liu Kang's using fire fists. Like hell yeah!
Fire dragon.
Fire dragon. Freaking Scorpion looks amazing.
God, Scorpion having his kunai, his knife, and then
That actor looks incredible.
Blood icicle.
Yeah. So when Scorpion and Sub-Zero were fighting, and you got the blood, and he freezes the blood and stabs Scorpion, I was like,
like all everything that just happened in that scene was a move from one of the various games. Like the Blood Icicle is a move. The thing where he steps on the ground and creates an ice wall and you get thrown into it's a move. Like I'm watching a live action Mortal Kombat game match. Like this is incredible, and it looks good. Like visually,
Kung Lao's hat looks so freaking just straight out of the goddamn game.
We are 5 years at best away from either a Dragon Ball movie or an anime of its type going to live action and looking good, because we're clearly like right on the cusp of it. It's so obvious.
We've gotten so many movies that like lead us there.
Yu Yu Hakusho is apparently coming to Netflix, but I won't count that yet because like that scale might be a little lower. But this
looks so good.
Like, okay, so I really want to tell you guys the origin of the Mortal Kombat universe, and it's not something that's ever explicitly said in any of the games. Sparks, you and I listened to the Mortal podcast once, which is a weekly Mortal Kombat podcast by Ben Meckler, who's a hilarious comedian writer. Follow him on Twitter; he's amazing. Every week he has a celebrity guest on. He talks about one specific character from each of the games, so that's really fun. I highly recommend that. But real quick, 2 minutes, just get into your seats, guys. Get ready for the origins of Mortal Kombat. From the very beginning of the universe, there was the one being, right? The one being, the one god above all. And he got real bored, so he created the gods, right? And the gods, all they could do was worship the one being. There was no universe yet. So the gods came together and they're like, listen, we are real bored and all we do is worship this guy. What if we kill him and take all of the power for themselves, right? So they create these things called the Kami Dogu daggers, right? And they slice up the one being into 1 billion pieces, and each of those 1 billion pieces becomes one of the realms. So that's how the universe gets born, from the one being, right? So you got all the realms. There's the vampire realm, there's a centaur realm, there's the chaos realm. Every species has their own realm. So the other gods have all this new land, and they create the smaller gods like Raiden and Shao Kahn and Raiko, all these like gods they're demigods, right? So the demigods are on the planet to defend them, but Shao Kahn gets super greedy and hungry, and he's like, "This is boring. I want to conquer." Fun fact that you guys don't know: every conqueror in history has been secretly influenced by the one being to try to unify, to create the one being once again. So that's why the Mortal Kombat tournaments happen, is because the one being is trying to reach out through the ether to Alexander the Great and to Genghis Khan and to these people to try to unite and reunify the world. And Shao Kahn becomes the greatest overlord of the world. And then guess who stops him? Planet Earth.
Real quickly, Fedora Society says, "Where's Johnny Cage, though?" That's a weird omission.
People think he might be like a cameo in this. I also think he's a weird omission, but like it's like keep the verse a little more diverse. Like I'm not mad at it.
I really like the look of all these characters. We've already got a white guy. We don't need to.
Yeah. Real quick. So Cole Young, that's the main character. I'm glad that he's not some random white guy. So I feel a little less crappy that it's just some random dude, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the cool thing about this. There's a couple instances where Cole is looking into a mirror and it's a flash of Scorpion. There's also an instance where he's wearing gloves that are yellow like Scorpion's. Sub-Zero is after Cole for some reason. This is the first Sub-Zero, and it's confirmed that the Sub-Zero will be like the quote-unquote villain of the movie. The first Sub-Zero is not the only Sub-Zero. The first Sub-Zero is Bi-Han. The second Sub-Zero is Kwai Lang, who sounds suspiciously like Cole Young. So I'm just saying, this first Sub-Zero is probably going to die, and I think this guy might become the new Sub-Zero. I think that might be a hunch, or he's tied to Scorpion in some way. But I think he's not just some random character. He has a tattoo. Sub-Zero's after him. I think he might be a descendant of one of these guys.
The two things about that. One, the Cole Young looking in the mirror. It didn't look like Scorpion to me. It looked like an evil version of him.
Oh, it could be that too. Like he could still be a descendant of Scorpion, so that still works for me.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, it's very interesting that they have kind of continued the now long tradition of switching Scorpion and Sub-Zero's roles in the narrative, where Scorpion is the good guy and Sub-Zero is the bad guy.
Yeah. So yeah, depending on again which timeline, like. And again, Scorpion and Sub-Zero's feud was always created by Quan Chi, the evil, bald, white sorcerer man. But yeah, he's dope and he's got a great deep voice. Sub-Zero, like he killed like part of Scorpion's clan, and then Scorpion gets revenge. Like it's just let's blood feud just to gain power.
You know, you can go and listeners can go and check out a good adaptation of that idea in the animated movie for Mortal Kombat about Scorpion. So go check that out.
Scorpion's Revenge? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. You're right. Yeah. I can't believe this looks so good. I am bummed out that they showed Reptile getting killed. Like they just should reveal the end of one of the fights with a fatality, which is okay. Yeah, Reptile. Yeah, Goro looks CG. People are shitting on the CG. It looks fine. It's like this is a $50 million movie. I'm not going to be mad if Goro doesn't look the best. But they show Kano. Yeah, he looks fine. They show Kano punching into Reptile and ripping his heart out. And that is a cool thing, but I kind of wish they would have saved that for the movie. Still looks sick though.
I think I love the fatality, the finish him fatality montage at the end where there's just like a bunch of people killing people.
Yeah.
I also don't feel like that ruins anything because I feel like Reptile always goes out at some point and then comes back in some way.
Yeah,
it's Reptile. I'm not mad at Reptile. I had a feeling like, oh, which one of the Mortal Kombat characters is going to die first? Probably Reptile because he's Reptile. Never entered my mind. Kevin can go. Here's our fourth one. Fuck himself.
There we go. So Wanda, this looks like WandaVision, but like real and sad.
Yeah, this looked really interesting. I was way into this.
This was AMC, right? I think it was AMC.
AMC, yeah, TV series. This housewife looks like she's trapped in a sitcom almost. Well, at least she's hallucinating a sitcom.
Yeah, I think it's her. Any things are pulling her out of the imagined fantasy of the world that she's living in. That like it's her coping mechanism kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, while she's living like this mundane like to her like bad life, like it's the sitcom, like this is what it's supposed to be like. Yeah. That actor who is playing the husband, like the goofy husband, that dude's super funny and he always plays that kind of role. So like I'm very excited to watch the show because he actually plays that kind of role in TV shows like King of Queens, that kind of role. So it's fun to see him like meta version play himself.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's cool to have something that's going to directly take on the kind of the misogynistic angle of those setup sitcom shows where it's very like doting. In some form or another has still continued to be like more or less the doting stay-at-home housewife for doing the things for the manly man husband.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else, or should we move into our main topic?
That's it. Good night.
Leave the trailer park.
It's gonna be a long night.
What if we push the book club?
Oh, I don't care. Okay, Archenemy. This is the new Joe Manganiello Legion M movie. So full spoilers for this.
Spectre Vision, Elijah Wood's production company, who also made Mandy.
Oh, so full spoilers. Full spoilers. All right, what do we think about this one?
I thought it was pretty good. I think there's not a lot going for it. I think like it's like a super low budget movie, but I think the concepts it's going for are really fun. I appreciate the things that I was going for. I really love the comic book stuff. There's something missing. Like I don't think it was fully there for me, but like I really enjoyed watching it. I think it's a cool thing. I want more of these kind of things to be out there. Like it's hardcore genre with a low budget.
Mm-hmm. Sparks?
I more or less agree with what Ryan said. I think if this movie didn't have good chemistry between Manganiello and the young man, the kid, Hamster, yeah, I think the movie would be dead on arrival. I think that it just would never have picked up any kind of energy or speed. And I think that's kind of crippling. And I don't mean that to say that like the other performers are bad. I just think that the movie kind of hinged on making that relationship work. And especially for you to get into it in the beginning. And if that hadn't happened, it didn't have a lot else that it could save it. That did happen. But I think that the movie falls short of executing its premise to its best. And I have one particular thing about it that I'll get into a little later. But overall, I thought it was pretty good for the budget and what it was going for.
Ben?
I think I'm a little more colder on this movie than you guys. I mean, I do agree it's fine. It's got it's got a few issues, but also has some really good things. I do love Joe Manganiello and the chemistry between Hamster. I do agree with Ryan because I do feel like there's something missing, because there are parts of this movie where I got really interested in one storyline and then it cuts to Manganiello and Hamster and to Max and Hamster. I'm like, oh, that's right. These are the guys I'm supposed to be following. The other one is just a subplot.
I had the opposite reaction.
Okay. It's I mean, it is fine. You can tell this is a lower budget movie, which is nothing wrong with that. But I don't know. You're right. It feels like it was missing something to like. You're like, oh wow, but I mean, it's good. It's not. It's weird. I'm like, but I'm like, I'm not mad I saw it, but at the same time, it's like I feel like I could have done something else with my time.
Sometimes things can just be like fine.
Yeah, I tend to. I think I agree with the general consensus here that it's missing a something. It's missing a something, and I don't necessarily know what that something is. I thought the comic book stuff was like the comic book like animation was actually really inventive and really interesting. And as I mentioned, opposite of what Ben, when we were following Joe Manganiello and Hamster, I was far more engaged in the movie than when I was following Hamster's sister. So much so that when we moved to Hamster's sister's subplot, I'm like, oh right, she's still in this movie.
Yeah. So I kind of like. Let me address the big one up front, which is that I think it's really dope that she gets abilities from touching his blood at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I really hate that it's at the end. This is not a film designed to be a franchise. This is not a film designed to have a sequel.
Actually, yes, it is.
I mean, even if it is, like, it's
planned. The director planned for it to be. It's called the Vortex trilogy. He just doesn't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake.
Maybe don't name your franchise before you get.
I think as a single film, like having a black female lead who's going to get the abilities, the fact that happens right at the end of the movie and you don't get to see her really do anything with it is kind of lame. And working under the pretense that there likely won't be follow-ups to this kind of sucks. What I would have rather seen is him fail in his attempt to stop Cleo, and then her get the abilities from that moment and go after Cleo in her own act, carrying on what he did, and that be kind of the third act finale of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of sacrifices himself for these kids. I think that would have had more to it, more of an emotional weight to the story that was happening in the film. And I feel like that was just a horrendous missed opportunity and kind of made everything, as we were going through the third act, kind of just fall into this is the coolest thing you've done so far. Too bad you're not going to see any of it. Goodbye, everybody.
I have a slight issue with the way that the movie presents the comic book story, his other world. There's really no ambiguity to whether or not he is from another world. The movie pretty plainly says that is true. And I would have liked a bit more ambiguity, maybe a little bit more back and forth of whether or not he's telling the truth or not in the movie.
If I may, Ryan, I was actually hoping that too, because there was a part in the movie where I was thinking, oh, maybe he is just making all this up. Maybe he is just this crazy homeless guy in intercity name here that people just know that's just Max. Don't worry about him. And and then I was like, man, that would be actually a really cool take where he actually is like, you're right. I need help. I'm making all this shit up. His Archenemy is something completely different.
I don't mind that it is true. I actually like that it is true. But I would have liked that reveal to have been like when we see Cleo, because we're pretty sure Cleo's showing up in the movie. When we see Cleo, to be like, oh, that's the reveal that this is real, is what he was been saying. Before that, I would have liked a bit more back and forth of whether or not he was telling the truth or not.
I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. I thought the reveal that Cleo was real, that it was all real, was the orb right after the call and you see the symbols tied to each other. I thought that was a good moment. But I will admit that I think Cleo's moment when she appears lacks the weight for what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I also think the comic story is just a little. It feels disjointed. I don't think we get enough of the concept that's played with, which is probably the most interesting idea about that story, where he was a hero in a world that didn't want him.
He became like too reckless and like started like collateral damaging everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that gets explored enough. I do think that just because I was seeing the comic stuff didn't tell me that it was true. It just, like it could still have been the movie trying to trick you into thinking it's true by the way it's presenting the story. Like nothing told me for sure that he was absolutely 100% true. And I will say that the movie made me veer into the, he might be making this up territory when he is like, yeah, there's a little bit of the cosmic blood in this drug.
Yes.
There's just a little bit of it in this.
Yeah, that's when I was a little hesitant, like, oh, maybe he's just a crazy man. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like,
talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the only time that the movie ever presents that perhaps he's insane. I would have liked it more.
I mean, he gets hit by a car and he's like bleeding and like he's taking it because he's like he thinks he can take it, but like he's punching a wall and his hands are hurt. Like I wasn't convinced until at least more than halfway through that. Like,
I think that the way the film does it, it's just as convincing to the audience as it's supposed to be to Hamster.
Yeah.
That it seems true. Sure. Yeah.
I'll believe it.
I don't know. That's a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of dead people. He might be making this one up. And I think that flow works fine.
So, funny enough, one of the problems I actually do have with this movie is that when Hamster is interviewing him for the first time so he can get the job at a dollar store Twitter, is he straight was like, oh, how many people did you kill? And then Max goes, no killing, never killed that was a rule. And then halfway in the movie, or more than halfway, like you could say that if he doesn't acknowledge that he changed his rule of living on this planet, he's just like, he just straight up murders fools left and right now. It's like, I mean, if you're going to change your conviction, then I don't know. I just felt like there should have been like, why did he change? Or he should have kept with like I am a hero, I don't kill people.
You know what scene I really liked? I'm glitching.
Oh.
Sparks, go ahead.
I agree with you, Ben. I felt like the whole moment of him saying "I don't kill people" to smash cut to him murdering people. I felt like that whole concept just it wasn't explored the way it should have. Neither in the fact that like he lied and he did kill people, or the emotional weight of him starting to kill people. Neither one of those things was ever displayed or delivered upon, and that is another thing in the movie that just really like knocked me out and made me really not like it.
I agree, and I was waiting for the moment to explain why he's now killing people. Like, he actually was like he was almost like villain level when he was this hero, but it doesn't ever tell me that. I'm just supposed to be like, well, I guess he's become the Punisher because he can't punch people anymore.
Yeah, see, I think somewhere in there is kind of the emotional pitch that we're all kind of feeling like just didn't drive this movie home, which is that I do think that it should have been more about this guy who felt like he lost all purpose when he was kicked out of his reality, where he'd strived on being this hero, even if people didn't want him to, because.
Oh man, he's gone.
He's gone.
Oh, that's not just me.
No, it's.
Yeah.
Sorry, you lost last 5 seconds. Go repeat what you said.
Oh, I don't know where I was then. So.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, I was like, I hope this movie doesn't do a Hancock, and then at the end, like when they get near each other, their biology is like symmetry, and I'm like, oh, now it's Hancock.
Well, one of the things that I think is, kind of would have helped drive home the thing about him, he kills people, is that she implies that he wasn't the hero that they wanted. And if they had just done more with that concept earlier, maybe, then the he kills now would have made more sense, because he got reckless in his own world.
Like the reveal when he does meet Chloe, and it is Chloe, right? I didn't just make that up.
Cleo.
Okay. okay, there was an O and an E in there somewhere. They just got mixed. When you do see Cleo again in the office for the first time, and she says, "Was I your wife?" and he goes, "Yes." I'm like, okay, how did that happen?
That's another concept that I think is really cool.
Yeah,
that they don't do.
Your wife becomes your, because the whole time I thought, okay, I didn't get didn't get sprinklings that maybe Cleo and Max were together until like halfway through the movie. I was like, maybe were they? Because he's seeing her everywhere.
The reveal in that same scene that she created the void not to wipe flesh from body, but to wipe everyone of their abilities.
Yeah. Basically to stop him.
That's a cool concept. That's not.
I like the comic panel of them like embracing each other out of love, because like they used to be something, and like this power drove them apart, and she basically had to become his arch enemy, and he was his own arch enemy in a way. Like I like how like the movie can be phrased in multiple ways, however you think about it. But again, it doesn't capitalize on that relationship.
Yeah,
I was really hoping for some form of that, or like at least because he keeps saying it's like, I saved the city, I'm the hero, Cleo's my arch enemy. He's like, no. You're the villain. Cleo was the hero, and she was trying to save you from being a complete.
They just don't get it to that finish line.
No.
Okay, no, go ahead, Ryan.
I think what for me, like if I was to rewrite this movie, I think if he would have been the arch enemy, if he would have been the villain, and him like rediscovering that would have like broke him emotionally, and then that's what would have like turned him into a good person. That would explain why he was a killer when he lied, because like he was trying to cover it up. And like he finally did get to meet his wife / hero arch enemy, and she did change his life, and they both died at the end. You know, I think that could have worked a lot better. It would have explained a lot of our problems.
This is a lot of what I was trying to express when I glitched out. Was that I think that the emotional pitch of this was would have been stronger with the concept of him being this person who felt like he'd lost purpose and he's trapped, and he's having to grapple with having lost that, when wanting to be this hero that that nobody really wanted, and he finds the new purpose in the kids, and that should have been like the best thing he'd done in forever, and he knew it, and Cleo knew it, and what it is that he gives his life for the kids, and in doing so that lead to her getting her powers and all that. But they just like don't drive that concept home all the way, even though I think what are their names? Hold on. I think Zoli Griggs, who's Indigo, is doing a great job. I think Skyland Brooks, who's playing Hamster, is doing an excellent job. And I think Joe Manganiello is turning in a good performance. But nevertheless, the script isn't taking them all the way.
I have to give my homeboy Glenn Howerton props. He's one of the main people in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He played the weird henchman guy with the mustache.
The manager.
The manager, yeah, he plays a psychotic man real well. He did what he does best. He was fine. He was fine.
I will say that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just on the note of the manager, the only bit with him that really didn't land for me was when he's singing. Because it felt like it felt completely unmotivated outside of we're just trying to make him stand out to you in this moment. And I'm like, cool. Why? What?
I'm just glad to see him in a movie.
Yeah,
that was what I was going to say. Was that was a funny moment when he gets out of the car to go beat up Hamster when the girl's walking. Oh, I'm so glad he did this, and he's just a long shot of him walking up to him and wham.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, it's a logical thing because Hamster did have his sleeve, so he probably could have done. I don't know. I don't know. That's really dumb. That's probably a thing.
Ignore that one, Ben. It's all right.
Okay. Did you just have a stroke, Ben?
I was gonna say that Hamster could have fought the guy back with a stick because he had those blades on his wrist.
It's a comedic moment.
Yeah, it is a comedic moment. Also, I feel bad for Melissa because she just gets shot in cold blood. That sucks.
Yeah, that character we really fell in love with.
I really like the manager's hench dude who comes to Indigo's house, and he's just got the comfy sweater on. He's like, "Listen, man, I just it's weird." No, the guy with the like hair up, the guy who comes into her house, yeah. And he's just like the cozy hench guy, and he's like got the book with him, and he's like, it's so crazy because all of this, crime is supposed to stop us from our pain on the self, because they're talking about the guy having committed suicide and not being able to make sense of it. And he's like, I don't get it, because like the whole point of all this agony is supposed to take away from your own self upsetness, and I thought that was such a funny concept of how that guy was executed.
And he's like, "You got a real cute place." Wow.
Yeah,
that was a really good scene with the crazy guy, with the Krieger or whatever.
Paul Scheer.
I wanted to highlight that. I wrote that down. I really like the Paul Scheer scene when he's with the gun, and it ends in such a dramatic and shocking way.
Real quick, going back to the scene with that guy before we go to Paul Scheer, who's awesome. That's the guy from Lovecraft Country. That's the evil cop from Lovecraft Country. Who's the other guy in the sweater? He's got a beard on though, but he's still an asshole. I've watched Paul Scheer for like 15 years only be a funny guy. He's legitimately good in this scene, I think he's funny and disturbed. Like the Russian roulette shit is like, oh man, you got chops, Paul Scheer. All right. I loved it.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't like, you guys probably didn't like her as much, is I actually did like the actress who played Cleo. Because I liked how she was just like cold. As in she was like this cold, calm. It wasn't like this like megalomaniac villain or who's like very loud and bombastic. She's like when she sees Indigo come back up, she's like, you need to handle your employee.
I know what you're saying, and I like the concept of her, but I didn't get a whole lot from that actress.
I thought she was fine. Yeah.
I just thought the script didn't give her enough to justify the relationship that's supposed to exist between her and Max. It's just not there. And I don't think that's all the actor's fault. I think she's trying, but I think that the script fails her in that scene to give her anything of emotional value. I think everything prior to that where she's cold kind of lands fine, but it's that where I'm like, you can't be this calculated about it. It needs more if it's only going to be this moment. There's a shot in there that I had to watch 3 times to try to make sense of it. And maybe it's just me, but I thought it was a bad shot where she points the gun down to the table and the shot is just on the table and she taps the silver reflective thing. And she says, you see that? He did that to me. What holds on that? So it's the helmet. It's the mask from the comic book stuff, but that is not obvious for when that shot is there. It doesn't look the same as the comic thing, nor is its purpose clear or what that's supposed to mean to me, to Hamster. I don't know what, like, she's like, he did this to me. And I'm like, did what?
Yeah. Like going on what you said, when she said she did that, so I'm like, that looks perfectly intact. If it was shattered and broken and she had scars on her eyes, then I'd be like, or under her eyes, I'm like, okay, that I get. He did do that to you. It sounds
like he put her in the mask, and you're like, oh, what?
So my theory is based on the minuscule amount of information around that thing that we got, is that he made her wear that, and she didn't get abilities because of it. No power for her by doing that because of how it's. That's the best I got for you based on the information. But again, it is so unclear. And the worst thing about it is that Hamster wouldn't get it at all. He'd get it even less than I do. And so I'm like, cinematically, like the framing is a bad shot to begin with. And it's a bad moment. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm okay with like things being obtuse and obscure and like not giving me all the information. But like when you set up certain things, you have to pay them off, or I just feel like, what was the point? Or you give me information and it doesn't lead to anywhere. I'm like, nothing was ever like, everything was executed like just enough, but never enough with enough depth. It's all surface level.
Yeah. I mean, like, you just can't set up a line where like the point of the line is to get another character to understand an amount of pain or agony because of something you're pointing out, and have it to the level where neither the audience nor that character would be able to make sense of what you're doing. And that's what that moment is. And I'm like, that just, I would have cut that moment out entirely. Like it helps nobody. It's just confusing.
I would have maybe have her. I know it's an exposition dump, but I probably would have like maybe add a little bit more exposition to that scene, where she would like sat down and be like, "See this is whatever. This is the thing that he had me wear. He got the powers, I didn't, and it drove him batshit crazy."
I would have enjoyed more comic book page backstory. Honestly, even like only like a minute or two that you would have needed. Like I enjoyed that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I do think like they could have gone further with the moment that they're playing, which I thought the moment was good. They don't do enough with it. Where she's talking to Hamster and she's saying, "Let's walk through the story then." Were you my wife? Yes, blah blah blah. She says, "Well, were you a hero in a world that didn't want you?" Where you were reckless and violent, and he's silent. She looks at Hamster and she says he doesn't want to say it, but the answer is yes to that one. That's all good, but that moment should have been driven further to actually tell us what happened to their relationship, because we still don't know, and that's where it should have come out, and that's where like you're right, Ryan. It is okay to be like obscure and obtuse and like let us draw our own conclusions, but we don't have enough pieces to draw conclusions that the movie makes us feel like we should have conclusions about by that point in the movie. And I don't have that information, and that's really a big hindrance on it. And more that importantly than that, Hamster is our POV character, and he's being challenged with that information and not having enough information, so the whole moment doesn't work because of it.
Yeah, and my kind of final thoughts on it are like, I guess I like all the comic book stuff, but I guess I wouldn't even call it like lazy, but like just the fact that he turns into just like a dude with like a shield, like he turns into like the Punisher, like kind of like is just like whatever to me. Like that's not I thought he was gonna like wear a body armor and go like tackle and beat the shit out of people with his fist. I'll accept that, but like getting a gun, like the movie turned into it turned into the Punisher, and I was like, this doesn't feel like the same movie. Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree with that. That tonal shift didn't jive with me either.
Like when he burns his costumes, like this time for something new. We're gonna clean the city up. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like, I'm gonna go on a killing spree. It's like, oh, we're going that route. Okay.
Again, I don't mind the killing spree, but it's just like he's dressed like a SWAT team guy. I thought he would have dressed like his old self, like with like super fist or something.
Like
so he has
or something.
So he has his logo for the fist sprayed onto the thing, but we didn't see it before that on his previous outfit, even though we'll see it later in the movie in the comic that it was there. And that's where I'm like, we're not even getting that connotation moment to connect those things, because we only see his outfit from the back.
I mean, also part of me was kind of hoping that his hand would go back into the crystal fist.
Me too.
I was hoping to see that. I mean, I know this is a very low budget film and CGI is very expensive, but it would have been cool to see his hand go back into the crystals. Like, oh, that'd been cool to see, but we never do, which is a bit of a bummer in my opinion.
Yeah.
When they have the Hancock moment, I thought that he'd get the crystal fist back.
Yes, yeah.
Like, get the fist. Come on, do the thing, do the cool thing. But no.
Also, that the Hancock moment seems like to be there literally for no reason other than to like give the girl the powers.
Yeah.
Right. And which again, I think would be fine if the movie were going to actually allow us to enjoy that in this film rather than hoping for a sequel to do so. Because I think Indigo was a cool character. I think that they did a good job. I think I like that actress playing her. And I really want to shout out Skyland Brooks. I think his performance as Hamster, especially his play with Manganiello, is some of the best stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
Their banter early on where they're talking about like, oh, I want to be like Hunter S. Thompson. Did you have one of those? And he's like, I don't know what that is. And he explains it. He's like, oh yeah, we had a guy like that. Like that kind of concept stuff was really cool. God, I love Manganiello delivers some lines just so well. Like the one where they get to where the crystal cave would be. And he's like, I'm so sorry. It's so beautiful. I just wanted you to see it.
Yeah.
And you really get a sense of what that relationship is. And it's a shame that the rest of the film couldn't like deliver the punch on that.
Yeah.
I do more than the script lets me. I believe how much Max Fisk cares about the kid because of Joe Manganiello's performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all the performances are good. I think the script's just kind of lacking there.
Yeah. I do kind of enjoy seeing Joe Manganiello like all scruffy beard, like a little unhinged. I did enjoy that because normally whenever
I was just going to say, I didn't understand why he aged 15 years when he dropped in, but Cleo didn't.
Yeah, that was.
She didn't she say she dropped in like 6 years earlier? Oh, but it's still she didn't age though. So
he implied that like the moment he went in because of going through the thing, it aged him 15 years.
I wonder if that's just him being high out of his mind.
Probably.
He doesn't understand beards. He's like, what? 15 years? Should we rate it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ryan, since you said your final thoughts first, why don't you rate it?
I'll give it a solid 7. I think it's a cool concept that doesn't quite nail it as much as I wanted it to, but I think if you could see it for cheap, if you see it for cheap, it's worth a watch if you're into genre stuff. I give it a 7.
Sparks.
Yeah, considering the low budget, kind of indie film that it is, I think that it's got broad concepts that it's trying to execute, and sometimes those things are there and they're connecting, but it doesn't land in a way to be anything truly special or to deliver the impact I think it wants to. So I'd also probably give it a 7, more than anything for the performances from the main characters, the 3 leads. I think are just so good, especially like giving young, unknown Black talent those kind of roles where they get to do a lot with it was really nice to watch. I thought that not only we didn't really mention it, but the relationship between the brother and sister I also thought was good for the little amount of dialogue that we actually got to flesh it out. They made me believe it. They made me connect with it. Mm-hmm. So that's they are doing such a good job that it makes me appreciate the film on a level that I think with weaker actors, this movie would overall be a wash.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ben.
I gotta give it a 6. It's good. It's perfectly fine, but I feel like there are a lot of steps this movie could have taken to make it better. I once again, I get it's a small budget, it's an indie film. You can only do so much, but there could have been so much more that this movie that they could have done, like with the stuff with the wife, the ambiguity of if whether or not Max is telling the truth or not. I would have enjoyed that a little bit more. But there are just so many times I'm like, hold up, what? And I mean, it's not bad. It's to me, it's just barely passable.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 6.5. Split the difference.
There you go.
Yeah. Shall we get into our book club?
I guess. Let's do it.
Do it. Sparks, take it away.
Hey guys, we're doing a Giant Killer, which is a nice little 6-issue mini by Dan Barrington. He wrote it and he drew it, and it is super cool. It's from Image Comics, and the concept is all about this volcanic eruption in San Francisco that starts leaking out giant monsters, and the government's trying to find a way to deal with it. So they decide, oh, we're going to take some DNA. We're going to make ourselves little kaiju killer, and it works out for them. Honestly, it just kind of goes okay.
Did you say Image Comics?
Yeah. Did I get
thought
that
it was
wrong?
DC Comics.
No, this is Image. Yeah, Image.
The issues we read on our website were
they're DC
Comics. But I guess it moved companies.
What's that?
Yeah. It's true. That's weird.
Well, suck it. It's Image.
I believe you.
That's interesting. That I guess it must have come out DC Comics Indie and then just moved to Image.
Image might have picked it up or something. Yeah.
Or the guy still owns the rights to the book and just moved it.
Yeah. This came out in 1999.
You can tell. I saw some of the advertisements in '99.
I love the advertisements.
That was a kind of nice, people listening or watching the podcast. I live with Sparks, but he's out of town, so I didn't have the physical copy, so I read an online version. Yeah, man, ads were wild back then.
Yeah,
I love it.
What do we think about the comic in general? I enjoyed it. I kind of wish it was longer though. There's a point specifically that I think would have benefited from more breadth, more space to just work on, because the the turn is pretty sudden, and I don't quite buy it at that point in the story. But all in all, it's a fun romp. It's good kaiju.
Yeah, I think forgetting to tell this story in 6 issues, it does a great job. The art is gorgeous.
Oh my god.
Absolutely in love with this art. I now am following Dan Barrington on Instagram, and I'm just looking at all his art, and he's just got such a wonderful style.
Yeah. I had a really good time with this book. I really enjoyed it. There are times it zigged where I thought it was going to zag, to be honest. Like I thought the head scientist, the one who led the project, was going to turn. He's like, yes, I can create more and control the world, or he was eventually going to be led to evil. And I really enjoyed the book. I also enjoyed.
It's exactly what Spark said, which was just things went well.
Yeah,
this worked out for them.
And also, I really liked how the doctor, I read this hours ago. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. But when he gives him the sword, and then the general's like, "Why are you giving him that samurai crap?" He's like, "Hey, first of all, I was born in America. 2, he needs to have a warrior's code. We don't want this dude to go out there and just slaughter shit for the sake of slaughtering shit."
No pansy ass American code.
It's Azuma is the doctor.
Azuma, thank you.
I reading this, I didn't know what to expect, and I very quickly got strong Hellboy vibes because I didn't expect this to be a almost regular sized monster man who carries around a samurai sword, who has like a dad scientist. Not what I expected. I expected him to be like a kaiju-esque monster. This dude's tiny as hell, like compared to the kaiju that he fights. But yeah, he's just a cool dude, and he has a cool sister, and like this was just a lot of fun. It looks beautiful, man. Like she's like Jill's cool. Like got a crossbow. I can't complain.
I had a feeling Jill was like, because they mentioned Jill in the very first page, and then like, yeah, Jill's probably not gonna happen. And then we see her later, and I was like, oh, you're Jill. But
I for some reason did not put 2 and 2 together. I'm usually really good about picking shit up, but like, oh, of course that's Jill. Oh, you got me, but you got me.
But just to get the negatives out of the way, the one thing, I don't know if this is because the way I read it, I may have missed something. But when we go from issue 5 to 6 and we meet the character Nox, the big monster who actually talks.
Yes.
I like how I love Nox, to be perfectly honest. I think he's cool because he's like, oh, don't worry. This is what monsters do. We destroy. I mean, I'm not mad that the young destroyer is killing. He's part monster. We live for this shit. But I've grown to like you guys. And then he's taking Jill away, but all of a sudden he's dead, and I don't see how he dies. I don't know if it's the roar. I don't know if it's the military. I'm like,
no, it's those monsters that was chasing Jill. A tentacle monster, like a green tentacle monster, takes him out of the sky, and you imagine that there's a battle. We see that on the screen. That's not necessarily what but the talking monster is a good example of that moment that I kind of wish was expanded on more, because when he shows up, it's like, oh, I'm a talking monster. I've been here for 600 years, and then it's like he's like, I'm not going to kill a monster again, and blah blah blah. So like that kind of transition happens in like in a couple panels, and I kind of wish it like had an issue of like him dealing with the fact that he's been killing his brethren, and like him. Like, I would have liked more exploration of his change of heart.
I think it's the implication is supposed to be that it happens in the weeks that he's in there with Jill that you're not seeing, and that he's kind of been reaching that decision across that period of time, because we know Jill's mentality about him murdering them, because we're following her narration. She's like, man, he's just like slaughtering them without abandon. Dang, dude. And I think that is supposed to have influenced it, but I agree with you that like it's not as fleshed out. But like also a 6-issue series, like, you make your choices, I guess.
Yeah. And I've said this before, I don't think it's a bad thing to just want more of a thing.
No, and I also think that this one is very, very much a art project first, and like visual art project first, and then a story concept second. And it's more about like just an excuse to make all these beautiful images of these kaiju-esque monsters and this monster man giant killer character Yochu, or Jack, who just looks dope as hell. Like it all looks so incredible that anything lackluster in the story is automatically made up for by the gorgeous art.
There's a death cult that I absolutely love. I think they look dope. And they're like, well, this looks like a good place to die. And I'm like, that's so funny. I love it. They're a bunch of redneck apocalypse people just ready to die.
And they have a name for the kaiju they're waiting for, but it's just whatever is the first kaiju to show up gets the name.
Yeah,
and they're like, yes, take us, Jotun. Like, that's it.
Oh yeah, I also took a picture of you guys saw the original Hulk movie, the 2004 Hulk, when Sam Elliott was Thunderbolt Ross. This came out in 1999, but tell me that's not Thunderbolt Ross, Sam Elliott 5 years early.
That's 100% Sam Elliott as Thunderbolt Ross.
Dude, I would argue that that's Ross, whether that's the Ang Lee Hulk movie or the Incredible Hulk movie. Like, I think they both look exactly like him.
It's so funny. I saw that. I'm like, Sam Elliott, what's going on?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just so sad that there's not more of this. Like, it's over 20 years, and like, it's unfortunately just a 6-issue thing, man.
Yeah, it is kind of a bummer in that sense. I feel more or less satisfied. Again, like, it's just something where I'm happy to sit there. Like, these pages are so colorful.
Yeah.
They're so full of dynamic art pieces that I'm like, I'm just happy that this exists, where you get like these awesome looking creatures and incredibly beautiful and dynamic panels to look at.
Does your physical copy have the covers of all of them? Because every one of the, like, issue 1, issue 2 has like these beautiful, like, Godzilla-esque, like, Japanese covers.
Yeah, hold on, I'll flip to one and show you what it's like. Oh, by the way, Nox is awesome. Love Nox. When Nox showed up, that felt great. So this is what the beginning of each section looks like. So you get the issue cover on one side, and then you get like this
action page.
Yeah, book 5 thing that it does.
The physical, you told me, also has like the monster guide in the back, and I'm excited to check that out.
Yeah, Jill has in the physical edition, you get Jill's monster guide, which is written from her perspective, and it is her analysis of each kaiju that shows up, and even a couple that, if you see them, you barely see them in the background. Mm-hmm. And that's really fleshed out all through this, and it's these beautiful pages of them, and you get her little blurbs describing them and her opinions on them. They've got some great names in here for them, ones that you didn't know, like Mosh is the name of the kind of praying mantis looking one that we see for a moment. I really love, you do hear this one's name, but I love that one's just called Lava Baby.
Yeah, Lava Baby.
I think Lava Baby's great. This one, there's this giant female one named Peeler. That looks like a lady. Yeah, she's pretty dope. So yeah, there's
looks like Cthulhu next to her.
Yeah, it's Quag. Quag is the one that kills Nox.
Yeah,
I really like that the idea is that these monsters come from a wormhole that crashed into a volcano.
Yes,
I love that concept.
I love that. I love that idea. I think all of that is cool. Oh, here's Ymir. Ymir is like a giant Yeti type, which is pretty good. It's really cool just how much work he put into designing these awesome creatures, and he created this story around them. I think like the final issue with Roar is really good, where he has this showdown going into there. And I love the imagery of him when he comes out. The scars that he had that had been lasered into the tattoo of the dragon are gone. He has his clean chest. He is reborn in that fire, which is pretty cool.
The scale of the book's very impressive, but that final issue with Roar, like he just the immensity of them is like, it's really good. It's really well drawn.
It kind of reminds me of a Dark Souls fight.
Ooh, big bad.
I mean, yeah, because you Dark Souls and Bloodborne, you face these creatures, these monsters that are like 10 times your size, and all you have is a sword. So you have to like go in and dodge roll and pray to God you win.
Yeah, I also just really like the concept of like what happens to mankind when they enter the area that has been affected, this Diablo Valley.
They melt.
You get the federal agent who's like, I don't believe in this. It's a hologram, and gets butchered up, and he starts turning into a possessed monster thing.
I love it.
Of Roar, and I thought that was really cool. That was some good like old school horror look that when you see his face just close up as as it's going through. He's very ghoulish. I just really liked it. I mean, like, I'm more than anything sold by the art style, but the art style is enough to sell me, and I think that the story's good enough. And you know, it may not be anything like super incredible to write home about in like the sense of character arcs or emotional satisfaction. But the art is just worth it. And if you like giant kaiju books, like Giant Killer is worth checking out. It's just this one story, and you get a lot of cool, really great eye candy out of it.
We talked last week about how like predictability isn't a bad thing, and like while this book is gorgeous and it has a somewhat predictable story, that's not a bad thing. Like,
yeah.
The story's there.
Yeah, and I didn't really think I didn't think the Jill stuff was going to play out. Like I'll be honest, when you're starting the book, what I thought was going to happen is that Jill was going to be hunting him, or he was going to be hunting her, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that was really never part of the story, they were just kind of curious about each other to begin with.
I thought she was going to be an alien.
Yeah,
I thought she was Lena Headey.
I can see that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing. Like I said, not a bad thing to want more of a thing.
Absolutely, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer. Like again, like 20 years later, like not even like a fake announcement for like a TV show or a movie. Like this property is just like, here it is. Come back.
Yeah. More than anything, I'm kind of sitting here, just like looking forward to finding more excuses to look at Dan Barrett's work. That's clearly something I'm going to keep an eye out for. You think that like with the art this gorgeous, we'd have seen him on some main titles in a bigger way by now. That being said, on his most recent Instagram, I just saw he just did some Marvel pieces. I'm gonna pull them up. You guys go ahead and start conversation for the next thing.
Well,
It's time to end the book club. Who's next, Johnny? Sorry, Brandon, that's your job.
It's Ben.
Well, guess what, guys?
Are we gonna do it again?
Book club this week, or this upcoming week. Ryan, you'd be happy to know that I'm on a bit of a Kieran Gillian run because I put Marty Scoutguard on my pull list because holy shit, that is a goddamn great book.
Bing bong.
I also saw a book at this comic store that I'm like, hey, that sounds like a really cool idea. I want to
Wait,
read that.
let me guess. Can I guess?
It's a Kieran Gillian book, so yes, you can guess.
Once in Future.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Die.
Yeah, it's an RPG book. Yeah.
Yep. Die Volume 1 by Kieran Gillian and artist Stephanie Hans.
Okay, it's Kieran Gillen.
I was
Kieran
gonna correct him.
Kieran Gillen.
I've been saying Gillian, haven't I?
You've been saying Kieran Gillian.
That's because the Guardians of the Galaxy actress is Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
Oh no, it's not. I don't know who it is.
But yeah, Volume 1, Fantasy Heartbreaker of Die.
Book rules.
That sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to reading it. So if you go to Dan Barrett's Instagram, you'll see that he just in last November he did the X-Men variant for Marvel's anthology Marvel #2. I actually forgot that Dan Barrett's did Nocturnals, which is something I'm looking at for the book club in the future. That's not Marvel related. He also he has this incredible Dead Man piece.
Oh yeah, I'm looking right now.
So keep an eye on Dan Barrett's, guys. He's got like really incredible artwork. Anyway,
Space Jean Grey.
Yeah.
You see that Spectre pop that's coming out from Funko?
Oh yeah.
I want it.
How could I miss it? You posted it in like 3 places.
2.
He wants you to know.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my text messages count as 1.
I texted you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
The classic
The Spectre's gotcha.
Okay, so Ben, Die Volume 1.
Yes, Die Volume 1.
Yeah,
Kieran Gillen, he made a tabletop RPG to accompany the comic that he made. So I'm probably going to be looking at that now that we're reading this book.
Kieran Gillen, I was listening to Weekly Planet, and they were talking about Die and how it came out because the end of the D&D TV series doesn't end with the kids coming back to the real world, so they've just been lost in that world forever. As he wrote it as like, what if those kids came back? And that, so it's like the next part of that series. So, cool.
Yeah, I actually got inspired when I went to the comic book store today. On the new graphic novels rack was Volume 3, and then I'm like, ooh, because I didn't flip through. I just looked at it. I was like, wait, I know that name, and then I was like, oh, I think I remember someone telling me about this. So I figured, why not give it a shot in the book club? And then lo and behold, it's my week to pick. So here we go.
Love it.
Next week, we don't know what we're talking about for our main topic. So, Mag, I didn't see your comment. Have a good night, gang.
You the best, Mag.
So we don't know what we're talking about next week as far as the main topic goes. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably tell you when we do the episode.
What we're gonna do is I'm just gonna close my eyes, look the other way, and throw a dart at a dartboard, and whatever it lands on, that's what we're talking about.
Blue. We're talking about the color blue because you didn't put topics on the dartboard. You just said you're going to throw it at a dartboard.
Wait, what dartboard has blue on it? Never mind. Let's not go there.
You want to come at me with colors, Ryan?
No,
really?
That's why I stopped. I'm sorry.
You come to my house. No, I'm kidding. All right, guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel. We greatly appreciate it. Our episode on Space Sweepers did very well. Why?
I legit think that's mostly not from this country.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone from the other countries.
Hi.
Okay, but of course, if you subscribe to this channel, you can see a bunch of our other content, such as our Fake Nerds Watch series, which we are currently doing WandaVision, as I said up top. There are 2 episodes of WandaVision below. So you can check that out, and we're doing that weekly. 2 more episodes of that left, and then we go into Falcon Winter Soldier. And maybe something else before that. Who knows? We also have Basement Arcade, which is a bit of a hiatus right now, and Basement Arcade Pause Menu, our freshman series, which is audio and video, where they, again, like I said, link in the description for the Adults Talking Anime Plus thing that you guys did with talking about video game consoles.
Yep.
Expect a pause menu in the future about that Avengers campaign whenever Ben and Brandon play it.
And of course, the Fake Nerd Book Club. There is an audio version of the Fake Nerd Book Club with the Michael Morisi interview, but we are also currently doing Little Char and the Gang if you're watching the videos. For you audio listeners, you're just about to get to the Pride and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Go.
But for you video watchers, Little Char and the Gang, 2nd episode soon. Of course, we also have our masks. Want to stop the pandemic? Please wear your masks, and why not make it a Crafted by Z Fake Nerd podcast mask? We guess we'll get some of those. We'd be happy to sell them to you guys. Of course, we also have our Patreon if you'd like to support us financially instead of the wonderful work you guys do to support us anyway. If you want to support us financially, you can find our 3 tiers on that one. Our $5 tier, our $10 tier subscription service with a shirt. You get a shirt, guys. You get a shirt for $10. It's pretty cool.
Pretty good.
And then, of course, our $20 tier of like, hey, you like us? But if you subscribe, the first person to subscribe to the $20 tier will get to ship in a bottle from Ryan Iliopoulos. That is a Fake Nerd podcast guarantee.
It's a guarantee. I said it once. I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We also have our TeePublic, where you can find a bunch of new merchandise, where we have our I'd rather be a fake nerd than a true fan, which blew up on Twitter this week because I posted about it.
Yeah.
That was surprising. We also have our new logos for Fake Nerds Watching Basement Arcade on the TeePublic now that Sparks created for us. All those links are in the description below. You can help us out by that, or you can go to our website at www.fakenerdpodcast.com. Also, the link is also linked below. All of our links are there as our homepage. You can check us all out there. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live show and the video afterwards. Thank you to everyone who subscribes to us on all the things. We can't do the show without you. We love you guys. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci, who made 2 guest star appearances on this very episode.
2.
Boy, did he.
He does our theme music, all the wonderful themes that you've heard throughout the episode. He did those at Jeremy Vellucci keyboards. And then, of course, he does Suburban Proctologist, where you can. It's his podcast, his comedy podcast. You can find that on iTunes or at facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official or Instagram at Subproc Podcast. And of course, Mike Matola. Mike's a wonderful person who gave me some tips about how to fix my destroyed wall. That's a story. You can find him at Mike Matola, all of his awesome art, and he did the beautiful logos for us, Book Club, Miscellaneous, and podcast. Okay, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben, where can they find you?
Well, you could find me celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda series at BenMagnet27 on Instagram and Twitter. And also, I write for OldSchoolGamerMagazine.com. Great news, a brand new article is coming up. Not tonight, probably tomorrow. I'm really McFrickin' tired. What is it about? It's about the Game Boy Advance. So
You're McFrickin' tired?
I am really McFrickin' tired.
I love that you said McFrickin'.
I've been saying that a lot lately. I don't know why.
I'll have a McFrickin'.
I'm freaking at it.
Sparks, where can they find you?
You can find me just in awe of the talent of Dan Barrington at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
Ryan.
You could find me knowing that it was Agatha all along at DJ Tony Snark.
Shit.
Spoilers for WandaVision.
It's been a year.
It's been a day.
It's been too long.
All right, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcast, and Pandora. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time you see us, whatever show that is, stay fake nerds.
And I killed Sparky too.